Chapter 386. After a long wait, Su-yun finally received a reply from Chen Feng. It was only a few short lines, but the general idea was very clear. Although the mission was not completed smoothly, it did not disappoint. Although some of his brothers were slightly injured, it was not a big deal. The most important thing was that Yu Meiren was safe and sound. It was a complete victory. Although Su-yun knew that Azure Dragon only reported the good news and not the bad news, at least he could confirm that everyone's safety was not a problem. As long as this was confirmed, nothing else mattered to Su-yun. Ever since the incident with Yin Long, Su-yun's tolerance had increased a lot. Su-yun needed to find Yu Meiren to find out about Guagua's superpower. However, based on the current situation, they must have a lot of reports to write and meetings to hold after the mission. Therefore, Su-yun did not want to disturb her at this time. He just wanted to know that she was safe. Before Su-yun could reply, Chen Feng sent another email. Sister, you just received an appointment to assist in an investigation in Shenzhen. Because it's a secret mission, you won't be able to contact her in the near future. She told me to tell you not to worry about her. Boss, we'll talk later. After reading this email, Su-yun did not know what to reply for a long time. Thinking about the busy days of the past, Su-yun missed them very much. Although life in Hadong City was very enjoyable, he always felt that something was missing. Also, the tranquility of the past few days made him feel uneasy. It was like the calm before the storm. Su-yun did not know if his intuition was wrong or if it was a symptom of his OCD. Even if there was no danger, he could always imagine some trouble. Perhaps life was really too timid. In the evening, Qin Zhongming came to drink with Su-yun. At the same time, they studied the design drawings that Tang Jiu sent him. The theme was the same. They were just discussing which style was more suitable for Hadong City. I like this style more. Su-yun found one of the designs. Hadong City's architecture is a combination of Beijing School and Jiangsu School. In this design, the styles of these two schools are reasonable and gentle, complementing each other and not contradicting each other. I think this is the best. I didn't expect you to be so knowledgeable about architecture. Qin Zhongming was obviously surprised. What is Beijing style and Jiangsu style? Most of the Beijing-style buildings in Huaxia are residential buildings, such as the courtyard houses. Su-yun continued, although they are residential buildings, they contain deep cultural connotations. They are the carriers of Huaxia's traditional culture. Construction is very particular about feng shui. From the selection of the site, to the determination of the specific dimensions of each building, everything must be done according to feng shui theory. Su-yun's words not only made Qin Zhongming admire him, but also made Ruan Qingshuang and Qin Waner, who were not interested at all, look over curiously. Feng shui theory was actually Huaxia's ancient environmental science. It was an important part of Huaxia's traditional architecture theory. This feng shui theory had been guiding the construction of Huaxia for thousands of years. In addition to feng shui theory, the decoration, carving, and painting of the buildings also reflected the folk customs and traditional culture. Su-yun had deep feelings for Beijing-style buildings. Ruan Qingshuang nodded seriously. Listening to him, she felt that it made a lot of sense. What about Jiangsu style? What is Jiangsu style? Su-yun took a sip of water and continued. Jiangsu style can be said to be the master of the northern and southern architectural styles. The layout of the gardens is one of the prominent characteristics of Jiangsu style. The architecture of Jiangsu style mainly faces the south, so that in winter it can be away from the wind and facing the sun, in summer it can be cool with the wind, full of the charm of the ancient culture of the water village. The roof of the ridge corner is raised, plus the horse building, the brick gate tower, and the open tile windows. White walls and black tiles, row upon row, light, simple, and elegant. In order to make everyone understand a bit more, Su-yun pointed to an architectural rendering of a man-made river and said, Jiangsu style's layout pursues the theory of twisting and turning. The layout of the gardens pays attention to the structure. In the direct exposure there must be a detour, in the gentle place there must be ups and downs. The layout of Huaxia's ancient architecture emphasizes the word hide, and this design of the cloistered building reflects the winding and serene depth. It is more in line with the ancient architecture of our Hadong city's thousand-year-old ancient city. Listening to the gentleman's words is better than reading books for 10 years. Qin Zhongming couldn't help but sigh with emotion. Good, good. Su-yun, you really spoke my mind. This is the plan. Tomorrow I will ask someone to confirm it with the Tang Group, so that the man-made river project can start as soon as possible. Just when several people were clapping and praising this matter, LV Wenny rushed over. Looking flustered and somewhat out of breath, she said, "Brother Yun, it's not good. Something happened outside. Dan Jiahao and a few guests who want to stay are quarreling." "Ah, what's going on?" Ruan Qingxuang frowned. Although Dan Jiahao was much more well-behaved than when he first came, occasionally he would mess up, which might not be stopped for a while. "I'll go with you to see. Let me go." Su-yun gestured for Ruan Qingxuang to sit down. He felt that the matter was not as simple as Dan Jiahao messing up. Although this guy was not disciplined, in Su-yun's eyes, he was still a child who was very worthy of education. Many things only needed to be told once, and he could basically execute it very well. Therefore, Su-yun believed that since last time he had told him that if he was in the service industry, he should act like a service industry, and he could not treat himself as a rogue, he would definitely not do anything out of line. Even if he quarreled with others, Su-yun believed that it was absolutely not his fault. Su-yun got up and went out with LV Wenny, but Ruan Qingxuang was still worried. Seeing her like this, Cho-yun simply said, "Let's go and see. Let's go together. I also want to see who is making trouble." Qin Wan-er's identity as a police officer was still very useful. When Su-yun walked out, he saw Dan Jiahao blocking a car outside the door, and said loudly, "I'll repeat it for the last time. Listen to me carefully. This hotel has rules. Japanese and dogs are not allowed to enter. If you still don't understand, then I'm sorry. Don't blame me for being unfriendly to you. If you want to blame someone, blame that idiot Abe and that idiot Noda from before. They were all brought out by silly Ichiro, right? Do you think that you're awesome just because you have America as your godfather? You still King talk to our Hua Xia about the Air Defense Identification Zone? Let me tell you, the Air Defense Identification Zone is not a national airspace, but an identification and early warning area outside the national airspace. It has nothing to do with sea and air jurisdiction. Stop King nagging." Yo, Su-yun was stunned for a moment. This guy had started to read the news. This was a big improvement. If the guests who wanted to stay in the hotel were Japanese, then Su-yun would definitely support Dan Jiahao's way of doing things. Japanese and dogs were not allowed to enter. This was a good saying. We Hua Xia people always do things with a straight back. Only traitors would serve you Japanese. Although Dan Jiahao's way of doing things was very extreme, Su-yun liked it. What else could he do? Humph. Since you don't welcome us, then we'll just go somewhere else. I don't believe that all of you Hua Xia people will not earn money. The leader of the Japanese said in stiff Chinese, "Let's go." Seeing the Japanese leaving resentfully, Dan Jiahao felt very good. He turned around and looked at Su-yun. He grinned and said, "Brother Yun, do you think I did the right thing?" Su-yun laughed and said, "Although it's a little extreme and not particularly right, I can't help it. I just like what you did." After getting Su-yun's approval, Dan Jiahao suddenly felt proud. Hua Xia people shouldn't serve the Japanese. However, there's one thing you didn't do well. What if they went to stay somewhere else? Wouldn't it be the same? Su-yun said indifferently, "Therefore when you do things, you must do it perfectly." After that, Su-yun called Chong Zi and told him the general reason. He asked Chong Zi to arrange for his brothers to go to the nearest hotel to watch if they had nothing to do. If any hotel dared to make money, he would directly warn them. Today, he wanted this group of Japanese to have nowhere to go. Every day, they plotted against Hua Xia to fight for territory. Now, they want to live comfortably in Hua Xia's territory? Humph, no way. This is called ruthless. Dan Jiahao admired Su-yun even more. Why didn't he think so much? By the way, how did you recognize that they were Japanese? Su Yun was a little surprised because Japanese and Huaxia people were both Asian. Other than the obvious difference in height, it was difficult to distinguish them. Dan Jiahao raised his head proudly. What a coincidence. If I didn't accidentally see a woman in a kimono in the back seat of their car, and that woman was quite pretty, I took a second look at her. In the end, the man sitting next to the woman was unhappy. He opened the door and wanted to kick me while cursing something. The man was wearing a loose robe that looked like a cloak, with the words I something Ryu written on it, and he was also wearing wooden clogs on his feet. Luckily, I dodged quickly and my brothers came in time. That Japanese didn't dare to be arrogant. If it weren't for our hotel's reputation, I would have killed him long ago. Cho Yun, who came out with Su Yun, suddenly looked up. She seemed to have something to ask but didn't know where to start, so she swallowed her words. Su Yun patted Dan Jiahao's shoulder. Yes, good job. Go get a big stone tomorrow and put it at the door for me. Write that Japanese and dogs are not allowed to enter. When the Japanese recognize history and Turtle Island as Huaxia's territory, we will remove the stone. Yes. Dan Jiahao agreed very quickly. LV when he quietly walked behind him and said angrily, You said you saw a Japanese girl who was especially beautiful, right? Why didn't you go and say hello to her? Why are you still here? Go and take a look. Chapter 387. It was late at night, but Su Yun couldn't sleep. After learning that Yu Meiren was in Shenzhen, he had always wanted to take Guagua there. Whether Guagua was the descendant of the mysterious race that Yu Meiren mentioned back then, she was probably the only one who could find out. Faint footsteps came from the door, followed by a soft knock on the door. Cho Yun tried to lower her voice. Su Yun, are you asleep? Su Yun got up and went to open the door. With Cho Yun's personality, it must be very important for her to look for him at this time, so Su Yun was quite confused. It's so late, what's the matter? I have something to tell you. Cho Yun pushed the door open and closed it. She looked a little nervous and helpless. Su Yun read something from Cho Yun's expression. Only when Guagua's safety was threatened would Cho Yun show such a nervous expression. Is it because of Green Ghost? Don't worry, the old man has analyzed this problem for me. I have also thought about it carefully. Before I was injured, I had already given Green Ghost a heavy blow with all my strength. I'm afraid his situation was worse than mine at that time. Maybe he's dead now. Cho Yun shook her head. I'm not worried about Green Ghost. If Green Ghost is not dead or injured, I believe that he must have come to the hotel for the second or third time. But he didn't appear when you were in a coma, and it has been so many days now, I also believe that he was seriously injured. Then what are you worried about? Su Yun didn't understand. Logically speaking, Cho Yun didn't have anything to worry about. Even if there was, she wouldn't come to him now, right? I'm talking about the Japanese who appeared today. Cho Yun said, trying to control her slightly agitated emotions. I'm quite worried. Su Yun heard this and was very emotional. He didn't expect Cho Yun to be so concerned about the people. Don't worry, it's just a few Japanese. Our Huaxia is not the same as before. They don't dare to mess around on our land. We have military strength. You don't have to worry so much, the country will take care of these things. Cho Yun was also stunned for a moment. You might have misunderstood. It's so late, do you think I'll come to talk to you about national affairs? Su Yun thought for a moment, and then he shook his head without hesitation. Then why are you talking to me about those Japanese? I thought you've been watching too much news today and you're worried that the Japanese would dare to come to our land and commit crimes. I'm worried that those Japanese are here to look for me. After Cho Yun said this, the frown between her eyebrows became more obvious. My intuition tells me that those Japanese coming to Hadong has a lot to do with me. To be honest, Hadong is an ancient city, a tourist city. Very few foreigners have business in the city because there are no joint ventures here. This is to ensure the environmental conditions of Hadong City. Most of the foreigners who come to Hadong are tourists, but for some reason, not many Japanese tourists come to Hadong. Maybe Japanese don't like to travel at all, because they are not welcomed in any country. Huh? Su-yun was stunned for a while, and he seemed to have thought of something. You mean, these Japanese have some conflicts with you? That's right. Just now Dan Jiahao said he saw Iga Ryu's handwriting on the man's clothes, so I have a hunch that the man Dan Jiahao is talking about is an Iga Ryu ninja. Cho Yun was not joking at all. She said very seriously, I don't know if I'm thinking too much, but I really want to make things clear. Do you know why I went to Feng Chen Sui a few years ago? Su-yun nodded. I heard that he saved you. That's right, he saved me in Japan. Cho Yun added, at that time, I was forced into a corner in Japan. Feng Chen Sui saved me, so I can live until now. At that time, Iga Ryu people wanted my Long Yuan soft sword, so they arranged for someone to steal it. It was very precious to me, so I had to get it back. After I found the sword, 2 Iga Ryu Chunin chased after me. Even when I hid in the Japanese shrine, they still chased after me. Using the advantage, I killed the 2 Iga Ryu Chunin in the Japanese shrine, so Iga Ryu started a full-scale hunt for me. If Feng Chen Sui didn't bring me back, I'm afraid I would have died in Japan. Su-yun touched his chin and didn't reply for a long time. He didn't expect that Cho Yun had such a past. She actually had such a big conflict with Iga Ryu ninjas. This was indeed a troublesome matter. Iga Ryu, as early as the 15th to 16th centuries, Japan was divided by various warlords. The shogunate's rule only existed in name. The originally weak Iga region suddenly had dozens of separatist forces. They rebelled and attacked each other. Due to the limited land and military strength of each force, they relied on training ninjas to conduct reconnaissance, sneak attacks, and assassinations. Soon, more than 30 ninja schools emerged in Japan. The most famous ones were Iga Ryu and Koguryu. This was a force that had existed for hundreds of years, so it was obvious that they had a deep foundation. Moreover, this kind of ninja was quite different from the modern ninjas trained in Japan. Compared to the ninjutsu performances during the joint military exercise between Japan and the United States, these ninjas were the real ninjas, not the kind who only knew how to play with shurikens and blow darts. The Iga Ryu was able to gain a foothold in that chaotic world because of their famous gunpowder technique. Although there were all kinds of guns in modern society, Su-yun felt that since this sect could survive until now, it had an absolute foothold. You killed 2 Iga Ryu Chunins, which were equivalent to 2 first-class masters. How did you do it? Su-yun was surprised. According to his calculation, Cho Yun's strength at that time was at most able to deal with a Chunin. Because of the geographical advantage. Cho Yun said lightly, in our eyes, the Devil Shrine is a miasma place where Class A war criminals are enshrined. But in the eyes of the Japanese, it's not like that. Tojo Hideki, Toshiba Kenji, Matsui Kaiten, Mutobi Totaro, Shirogane Toshiba. These people are not warmongers in the eyes of the Japanese, they are not murderers, they are enshrining them. It's like enshrining their own ancestors. All the above characters are homophones, those bastards' names are not worthy to appear in this book. This novel is purely fictional, and every place is fictional. If there is any similarity, it's purely f***ed up. Please don't take it as a personal reference. Su-yun also roughly understood that the things inside were probably things that the Japanese wouldn't dare to damage. However, Cho Yen didn't care. It was because of this that she was able to easily win. Because once a ninja doesn't dare to use hidden weapons, their attack power will be sharply reduced. After all, Iga Ryu ninjas don't have chakra in their body like in manga, they are just ordinary people. It's been so many years, do you think they won't let it go? Su-yun's question was indeed a point that had to be considered. After all, it's been so many years. Cho Yun nodded. At first, I also thought so. After all, it's been so many years, no one should pursue it anymore. But I thought about it again, the Japanese democracy's human nature is too dark, they will never forget this hatred, so I believe that even if this matter has passed for another 10 years, as long as they have the chance to find me, they will still do the same to me. That makes sense. Su-yun nodded, but then shook his head. If the Iga Ryu people know that you are here, they will definitely arrange for a jonin to come find you based on the fact that you killed 2 of their chunin. If the person in the car just now was a jonin, do you think he would be stopped by Dan Jiahao and his group of security guards? This is obviously strange, so I will immediately ask Chong to investigate. I guess those Japanese haven't found a place to live yet. Chong has always been careful, he must have arranged people to keep an eye on them. If it's a jonin, their anti-reconnaissance ability is very terrifying, and their strength must be comparable to yours. If Chong arranged people to keep an eye on them, it will be dangerous. Cho Yun suddenly said nervously, "This matter can't be so risky." Su Yun also realized the danger, and quickly dialed Chong's phone. Chong and his 3 brothers were laughing at these Japanese. Although Hadong City was not big, there were still more than 100 hotels of various sizes, but none of them agreed to let them stay. Even if the Japanese offered a price of 10,000 a night, no one dared to take the money. This was not to say that these people were patriotic. After all, most of them could not resist the temptation of money. They did not dare to take the money, but a large part of the reason was that they were afraid. Making money was a small matter, but if they offended Chong, they would not be able to open their doors in the future. "Brother, what's your order?" Chong was in a good mood. Seeing the Japanese in distress, needless to say, he was very happy. "Where are they? What happened to those Japanese?" Su Yun heard Chong's voice and finally felt relieved. "Haha, don't mention how much of a relief it was. These Japanese could not find a place to stay, they were as anxious as ants on a hot pan." Chong said proudly, "Wherever they went, I asked my brothers to tell them. No one did not give us face." Su Yun frowned. "Where are you?" "I'll go and find you." "We have been following these Japanese all the way, just—" Chong's voice suddenly stopped, and then he said unhappily, "I didn't expect these bastards to find such a cheap hotel. Brother Yun, wait a moment, I'll think of a way to tell the boss." "No need. Su Yun, let them stay, I'll go later. There are some unforeseen circumstances. Later, ask the boss of the small hotel which room these people are staying in. Don't make any moves. Wait for me to go there first." Chong grunted and agreed. "Okay. Brother Yun, don't worry, I'll keep an eye on them. I'll wait for you at the entrance of a small hotel called Warm Home on the east side of Chessboard Street. Drive carefully on the road, it's foggy today, the visibility is very low." "Okay." Su Yun hung up the phone, turned around and said to Cho Yun, "Whether it is or not, I have to go and take a look. If the other party is an IGA Ryu Jiaonin, I think I should be able to deal with them. You should also pay more attention here. Be careful." Chapter 388. When Su Yun arrived at the scene, Chong and his 3 buddies were squatting in the dark corner of the hotel entrance, smoking. When they saw Su Yun, they all stood up and greeted him. "Thank you, bro, but there's no need." Su Yun pushed away Chong's buddies and asked Chong, "Are they all inside?" "They're all inside." Chong nodded. "Bro, what do these Japanese do?" "Their car is not bad. It's an imported BMW 650, almost 2 million. I haven't seen anyone buy this car in a small place like Hadong. It's really rare." Su Yun shook his head. "I came because I want to know what they do. How many people are there?" 3 men and a woman. Chong remembered very clearly. 2 men in black suits, and another man in a black robe. He even wore clogs on his feet. The sound of his footsteps was annoying. But the woman in the kimono is really not bad. She's quite feminine. I have to say that this Japanese girl is quite good. It's a pity that she's acting in action romance movies. How many rooms did the 4 of them get?" Su Yun had already started to guess. On the surface, these people looked like ninjas, but it didn't make sense just based on their clothes. Although it was impossible for them to cover their faces and wear night clothes, they shouldn't wear suits. The black robe and clogs were even more ridiculous. That should be the outfit that samurai liked. Could it be the woman in the kimono? It was said that Japanese ninjas knew how to hide themselves, but it wasn't that bad. They were just better at hiding themselves. Su-yoon and his buddies also had special training to learn how to hide themselves. They learned a lot from the Japanese. Maybe the woman was wearing a kimono to hide her true identity? Chong threw the cigarette butt on the ground and stepped on it. He smiled and said, 3 rooms. I suspect that the 2 men in black suits will each have 1 room. The man in the clogs and the woman in the kimono will have 1 room. The Japanese are especially fond of that. Bro, you know. Let's go up and take a look. Su-yoon didn't think so. The 2 men in black suits were obviously of lower status. Although the hotel wasn't big, for the strict Japanese, it was impossible for them to have a separate room. However, the other man and woman might have a separate room. Su-yoon went in and asked for a room. The lady boss of the hotel was a sensible person. She knew that the men weren't here to stay, but some things couldn't be said or asked because of the rules. As long as she could make money, she couldn't care less. The 4 of them went up to the 2nd floor and saw the 2 men in black suits guarding a room. Because the soundproofing of the small hotel wasn't good, the moment the girl's voice from the outside, they could vaguely hear the girl's voice. Of course, it wasn't the yelling of "Yamit" or "Free E" like in Chongzi's fantasy, but some reprimanding voices. Because the girl's voice was very fast, it was even harder to hear through the wall. But Su-yoon heard what the man said, because the man kept repeating the dead code "Sa, I'm sorry." If he guessed correctly, the girl should be a young lady, and the man in the clogged black robe was also a servant. He felt guilty that he didn't find an elegant place for the young lady, so he kept apologizing. There was a reason for Su-yoon to make such a deduction. That was because the status of women in Japan was very low. If that man was the woman's husband or brother, he would have already slapped her and made her go to the suburbs to dig for potatoes. When the 2 Japanese men in black suits at the door saw Su-yoon and the others, they immediately put on a vigilant look. But before they could make a sound, Su-yoon suddenly sped up and approached them. He gave each of them a karate chop on the back of their necks, and they directly fainted on the ground. Su-yoon made a gesture to Chong, and Chong immediately understood. He called his 3 brothers to drag the 2 fainted guys into the room they had booked. Chong and the others were really excited at this time. Everyone in Hua-sia had some anti-Japanese sentiments. Doing this kind of thing gave them a special feeling. This feeling was definitely not just simple excitement, but more exciting than excitement. "Brother, what should we do next?" Chong was a little excited, so he lowered his voice and asked. Su-yoon poured a bucket of cold water on him. "You guys go back first. I'll take care of the rest myself. By the way, throw some money to the boss of the hotel when you leave." "I don't have any money on me. I'm afraid that someone will destroy something later." Chong's eyes widened. "Brother Yoon, why don't you let the brothers help you at a critical time?" I'll stay and help you." "Let the 3 of them go first." "We won't leave either. We'll stay and help." Hearing Chong say that he wouldn't leave, the 3 of them stayed. "Listen to my arrangements." Su-yoon said lightly, "I know you want to help me, but you'll be helping me if you leave now." Chong knew that Su-yoon had made a decision, so it was useless for anyone to say anything. Moreover, Su-yoon was a very meticulous person. He couldn't mess up Brother Yun's plan just because he was greedy for his own momentary pleasure. Chong waved his hand and said to the 3 brothers, "Let's go. Listen to Brother Yoon." After Chong and the others left, Su-yoon walked to the room where the quarrel came from. He slowly knocked on the door 3 times. The man inside asked in Japanese vigilantly, "What's going on?" Su-yoon understood Japanese, but in Hua-sia, he didn't like to speak it. These Japanese obviously knew some Chinese, so Su-yoon said directly, "The police are here to check the room. Open the door." The Japanese man inside didn't seem to understand, but he realized a problem. The 2 people guarding the door had stopped moving. He quickly opened the door. The moment he opened it, Su-yoon kicked him in. Although the Japanese man wanted to protect himself, he didn't react at all. He was directly kicked into the room by Su-yoon. If it weren't for the fact that he didn't want to break the door of the small hotel, Su-yoon wouldn't have bothered to knock on the door. Looking at the strange man who suddenly broke in, The Japanese girl in the kimono in the room hid behind the bed in panic. Her face was full of panic. The wooden puppet man who was kicked by Su-yun struggled to stand up on the ground. His face was full of panic. With his cowardice, Su-yun could tell that he was definitely not a ninja. The girl in the kimono was a little flustered. She shouted at the wooden puppet man in Japanese, "Sato, aren't you an IGA Ryu ninja master? Protect me. Miss Akihara, don't worry. With me here, I won't let anyone hurt you." Although the wooden puppet man said so, he kept retreating. He probably wanted to retreat to the window and jump off the building to escape. Su-yun's heart, which was still in his mouth, instantly calmed down. Obviously, he couldn't be a ninja. His and Cho-yun's worries were unnecessary. This Miss Akihara must be a lady from a big family, and this wooden puppet man, Sato, must be a bodyguard. IGA Ryu ninja? Are you F***king kidding me? Sorry, I think we might have misunderstood. After Su-yun confirmed that the two people were not aggressive, he didn't do anything else. Seeing this, the wooden clogs man quickly stood in front of Miss Akihara. He stared at Su-yun with vigilance and fear. If this is a misunderstanding, please leave immediately. Otherwise, don't blame me for being rude. Su-yun couldn't help but laugh. You're an IGA Ryu ninja? Sweat began to ooze from Sato's forehead. Yes, I'm an IGA Ryu ninja. But I don't want to cause trouble in Huaxia, so I'll give you a chance. If you leave now, we won't hold you responsible for anything. Oh, this isn't IGA Ryu style, is it? Su-yun was amused by this grandson's pretense. He pulled a chair and sat down. I kicked you so hard just now. Don't you hate me at all? And how can a ninja like you not dodge my kick? The clogged man Sato endured the pain in his chest and tried his best to keep his voice from trembling. I just wanted to see how good you are. Humph. Your kick is nothing. It didn't hurt me at all. He could really hold on. Admirable. Su-yun was in a good mood today and decided to remind Miss Akihara. Miss Akihara, this IGA Ryu ninja is your bodyguard, right? That's right. You'd better not mess around. Mr. Sato is very powerful. Miss Akihara didn't doubt the strength of the liar in front of her at all. She was very confident, as if her bodyguard could easily deal with Su-yun. Su-yun smiled. Miss Akihara, as a Japanese, you don't have any concept of ninjas? Ninjas can't get fat. Ninjas mainly eat grains, low in calories, low in fat, and high in protein. This Jonin bodyguard of yours doesn't usually eat steak with you, right? Think about it, real ninjas often hide on the ceiling, hang on trees, or pillars in the house. They only use their hands to support their weight, so ninjas don't weigh more than 60 kilograms. But this Jonin beside you, I'm afraid he's at least 80 kilograms, right? Ha ha ha, Miss Akihara, remember to open your eyes when you hire a bodyguard in the future. Otherwise, if you hire a useless person at a high price, it's not worth it. Su-yun's words made Sato break out in a cold sweat. He pretended to be an IGA Ryu ninja to make a living, and no one exposed him. Most of the time, he only needed to take out the sword in his hand to scare his opponents, and they would retreat unfairly. He didn't expect to be exposed by a Huaxia today. Cho Yuehuan looked at the man in wooden clogs in shock. She suddenly realized that Sato had never really done anything by her side. He had always used his mouth to trick her. Bye-bye. Su-yun waved his hand and walked out in a good mood. It was best if it was a misunderstanding. This meant that no IGA Ryu ninja came to cause trouble for Cho-yun. If it was true, a fierce battle would be unavoidable today. No one wanted to cause trouble for no reason. Chapter 389. Although Su-yun asked Chongzi and the others to leave first, they stayed in the car even though they left the hotel. Chongzi and the other three didn't leave because they were afraid that there would be new movements at any time. In this way, they could immediately rush out to help. Soon, Su-yun walked out of the hotel. Chong and the others got out of the car and surrounded him. Brother Yun, how is it? Who is that Japanese woman? It's a misunderstanding. Don't think too much. Go do your things. I'll contact you again if there's anything. Soo-yoon smiled. Oh, by the way, Chong, I heard from Uncle Chin that he introduced a girl to you. She's in the municipal party organization department, right? You actually rejected her? I'm telling you, you have to meet her. Don't delay it. This is a big deal. Didn't you see how much your parents want to have a grandson? Chong was embarrassed. Brother, don't joke with me. I'm just a gangster. She definitely doesn't like me, so I rejected her. I think marriage is very realistic. It pays attention to the social status. I think it's better to forget about it. Since you know it's realistic, you have to go and see her. What's wrong with you? House, car, money, what do you have? Soo-yoon cheered him up. Listen to me. Go and see her. I promise you'll get her. How many girls are not tempted by an Audi? If you say you're not tempted, you're just pretending. Chong laughed. Okay, brother, I'll listen to you. I wanted to ask you about it even if you didn't mention it. After all, it's Uncle Chin's face. If I don't go, I'll embarrass him. Since he beat up Fong Guaching in the bar, the golfer that he used to follow Chin Wanner became Soo-yoon's mode of transportation. Soo-yoon walked to the car and got in. Then you can contact Uncle Chin and ask him to worry about you. Chong, although there's nothing unrealistic about girls, you can't be too realistic. I believe that Uncle Chin wouldn't introduce you to a random girl. It must be because the girl's character is good. Don't be perfunctory. Your parents also asked me to hurry up and help you find one. If this matter is successful, how happy will they be? Am I right? Yes, yes. Brother Yun, don't worry. I'll definitely perform well. I'll call Uncle Chin tomorrow morning and ask him to arrange it for me. Chong nodded repeatedly. Soo-yoon smiled, waved his hand, and drove away. It was already 11:30 p.m. If he didn't go back, Cho-yun would be worried. On the way back to the Medicinal Cuisine Hotel, Soo-yoon suddenly realized a problem, and the root of the problem was Miss Akihara. Sato, the wooden puppet man, didn't have the aura of a ninja at all, whether in terms of dressing or image. If it was a big family in Japan, it would be impossible for them not to notice this. If even Soo-yoon knew about it, how could the Japanese not know about it? Although Japanese ninjas were a group of mysterious people, it wasn't to the extent that the Japanese didn't know anything about it, right? Thinking of this, Soo-yoon couldn't help but speed up. An ominous premonition had already risen in his heart. If the wooden puppet man Sato was a bragging liar, saying that he was an IGA Ryu ninja who came to the Akihara family to cheat money, then his disguise should be very real. But now, his poor disguise had actually gained the trust of the other party. This was really a little unreasonable. When Soo-yoon arrived at the entrance of the Medicinal Cuisine Hotel, a few black shadows entered the path under Soo-yoon's eyes and disappeared in an instant. Soo-yoon didn't hesitate to get out of the car and quickly chase after them. Now that he thought about it, he felt a lingering fear. If he had come back one step later, the consequences would have been unimaginable. Soo-yoon followed behind the few black shadows as fast as lightning. He couldn't help but admire the Japanese ninja's advantage in terms of Qigong. This was because the first point of a ninja's cultivation was speed. A ninja without speed was not worthy of being called a ninja. After running all the way, Soo-yoon realized that the few black shadows had deliberately led him to the man-made river. Because the man-made river was being repaired, it was deserted in the middle of the night. The night was dark and the wind was strong, and the grassy slope was the best place to kill. The few black shadows stopped beside a person. Soo-yoon immediately recognized that person because a woman in a kimono always left a deep impression on others. Soo-yoon really didn't expect that the other party would take such a big detour and set such a big trap. Soo-yoon had always been cautious, but today, he had to admit that he had been completely fooled. He had already given up on his suspicions. However, just as he didn't believe that the other party was here to cause trouble for the Cho-yun, the seemingly delicate and weak young lady suddenly jumped in front of Soo-yoon like ice. Although Sato isn't a ninja, I am. I didn't expect to meet someone in Huaxia who understands Japanese ninja culture so well. You're right. In order for us ninjas to maintain our weight, we have to pay special attention to the most basic diet. Kiyomoto said slowly. There are probably very few people who know about this, even in Japan. Who are you? Although Su Yun was alone now, he was not afraid of his opponent. Shouldn't I be the one asking you that? What are you trying to do by scheming so much? Can't a smart person like you not think of it? Chohara smiled. We will do a thorough investigation before we make a move on any target. If we can't even figure out the other party's identity, we won't easily face unknown dangers. Su Yun now realized how scary his opponent was. Your target is Cho Yun, right? Let me tell you, I won't let anyone hurt the people around me. If you want to do that, you have to ask me first. Mr. Su Yun, I'm afraid you're only half right. Chohara said indifferently, because you're also one of our targets this time. So, even if you don't want me to ask you if you agree, I still have to ask you. But now, it doesn't matter whether you agree or not. It doesn't matter. We don't want your answer, we want our own answer. Su Yun really didn't understand. He didn't seem to have anything to do with these people in Japan, nor did he come into contact with anyone from the IGA Ryu, so there was no history or hatred. How did he become their target? You know my name? It seems like you know a lot, right? Su Yun tried his best to control his emotions and not fly into a rage. Since the other party was so confident, they must have figured out his situation long ago. Chohara nodded. That's right. Our people have been staying in your hotel for 3 days. We found a breakthrough point and planned a perfect plan. That's why you followed us step by step. That's why you were lured out by me step by step. But I didn't expect you to be so smart as to deny our identity and then go back. So, I had no choice but to come up with this plan and confront you directly. If you didn't go back so quickly, I wouldn't have exposed my identity in front of you. Su Yun's heart suddenly jumped. From what she said, they deliberately lured him out and then attacked the people in the hotel. Moreover, the other party's people had been staying in their hotel for 3 days. No wonder Su Yun had a vague feeling that something was wrong these days. I can make myself clear, and you can make a choice. Chohara continued. Now you don't have time to rush back to the hotel. Those women are probably already under our control. If you're willing to cooperate, I think we can save a lot of unnecessary trouble. The veins on Su Yun's forehead popped. These Japanese IGA Ryu bastards were really sinister. Chohara didn't seem to notice Su Yun's state. We IGA Ryu don't do things without a reason. If you want to blame someone, you can only blame yourself for offending Dairong Electronics Nakamura-kun. We were invited by him. We didn't expect to have an unexpected gain like Cho Yun. In my 8th year in IGA Ryu, Violent Fox Venerable Cho Yun was already on our IGA Ryu's blacklist. So, we have no reason to let her go. Similarly, we have no reason to let the people around her go. Su Yun clenched his fists so hard that his knuckles cracked. He thought of the only Japanese he had offended. It was probably the bastard who had harassed Wan Qingxuang and Qin Wanner in the bar. He didn't expect that bastard to hire someone to do something. He dared to be so arrogant in Huaxia. This was something that Su Yun couldn't tolerate at all. Su Yun didn't care how much money Dairong Electronics made in Huaxia. As long as they could provide high-quality products, the consumers would also benefit. Su Yun would support all legitimate business relationships. He wouldn't go to the extreme and smash Japanese supermarkets, Japanese branded cars, or digital products. Those were things that only evil people with ulterior motives would do. However, Su Yun would never allow Japanese people to bully Huaxia people in Huaxia. This is Huaxia. We have no reason to let you go, right? Su Yun's voice turned cold. He was ready to make a move. Chohara's reaction was fast enough. She suddenly tore off her kimono. The tight-fitting night suit inside was exactly the same as the 4 people beside her. Obviously, she wore a kimono because it was convenient for her to take it off quickly during a battle. It wasn't because of Japanese tradition. Before Su-yun could make a move, the 4 men in black beside Chiyohara suddenly attacked. Kunai pierced through the night sky and stabbed directly at Su-yun. Kunai was a type of ninja weapon that was about 3 to 4 centimeters long. It was shaped like a scraper coated with mortar. It looked like a long nail that had been flattened. It could be easily inserted between the gaps in the wall. A considerable number of ninjas would use kunai as shurikens. As Su-yun turned around and retreated, he picked up a few stones from the messy river and threw them out. With a clatter, the kunai were all hit by Su-yun's stones and fell to the ground. Perhaps it was because they saw that Su-yun was extraordinary, the 4 of them drew their ninja blades from their backs. At this moment, the female ninja, Chiyohara, also drew her ninja blade from her back. It seemed like she had decided to lead the 4 of them to have a serious fight with Su-yun. Chapter 390. 5 cold lights flashed, and Su-yun had no choice but to be on high alert. After all, ninjas like to play tricks, and there were some small tricks that he had to guard against. If he was not careful, he might fall into their trap. For ninjas, the more sinister a trick was, the more it was their specialty. Japanese ninjas were the same as Japanese samurai. They both carried swords, but ninja swords were very unique and were not only used for combat. The ninja sword was only about 50 centimeters long, much shorter than a traditional samurai sword. This length was just enough for a ninja to carry it on their back without affecting their movements. The guard of the ninja sword was square. However, the guard of the ninja sword was larger and wider than an ordinary sword, and the scabbard was wider than an ordinary scabbard. This was one of the unique features of its design. The extra space in the scabbard of the ninja sword was usually filled with a mixture of cigarette ash and chili powder. In times of danger, these mixtures would be useful. They would use these things to create smoke when they were in danger. When the smoke dissipated, they would disappear. To put it bluntly, it was a small trick, but this small trick could play a life-saving role at a critical moment. In addition, Su-yun was very clear that he had to pay attention to the end of the ninja sword because that place was empty. There was a small white stone and a needle inside. It did not matter if the stone was a chalk pen, but the needle could not only be used as a tool to open a door, pierce a window, but it could also be used as a hidden weapon. This was the terrifying thing about ninjas. Anything on their body could secretly hurt people, and it was very likely that they were soaked in poison. Therefore, Su-yun could not be careless in every detail of his fight with them. Even if the opponent's strength was not good, he could not underestimate them. Judging from the current situation, Miss Akihara was obviously a chunin. She was the sole leader of the few of them. Every move of the 4 people was done according to Miss Akihara's gestures. Her ninjutsu was probably not low, and her commanding ability was also very good. Her strength was at least at the level of a first-class expert. As for the other 4 people who fought with Su-yun, they should be genin. Chiyo-gen gestured, and the 4 genin launched a pincer attack on Su-yun. Their blades streaked across the night sky, leaving behind afterimages of cold light, and stabbed towards Su-yun without hesitation. Su-yun executed the exquisite swimming dragon steps, and only then was he able to easily dodge the 4 people's frenzied slashes. The speed of these 4 people was very fast, but after all, their strength was limited. Su-yun quickly knocked out the ninja swords in the hands of 2 people. Chiyo-yuan saw that the situation was not good, and with a flip of her wrist, 3 sleeve arrows shot out. She naturally did not expect that the 4 of them would not be able to defeat their opponents with an overwhelming advantage, and instead, their opponents would gain the upper hand. At this time, if she still did not make a move, she was afraid that her 4 subordinates would not be able to hold on. The 3 arrows came silently and without any warning. If it wasn't for Su-yun's quick reaction, he would have been hit. While dodging the 2 blades, Su-yun directly raised his foot and used the tip of his shoe to change the direction of the sleeve arrow. The sleeve arrow pierced the lower abdomen of the genin who was about to blow the needle to the left of Su-yun. Logically speaking, a sleeve arrow of this strength was not enough to cause serious injury, but after that person was hit, he fiercely covered his lower abdomen, and his eyeballs instantly popped out. Then, he flopped and knelt on the ground, and purple-black blood flowed out of the corner of his mouth. The sleeve arrow was poisonous. This was the only explanation Su Yun could give. Thinking of this, Su Yun could not help but feel a little scared. He needed to end the battle quickly, and the fewer tricks these people could use, the more secure his safety would be. In the blink of an eye, Su Yun snatched the ninja's blade from the surprised ninja's hand. Taking advantage of the momentum, he flipped over the ninja behind him who wanted to sneak attack him, and then directly stabbed the ninja in front of him. Although the ninja's blade was taken away, he put his hands behind his waist and pulled out the ame piercer that he carried with him, blocking Su Yun's attack. Su Yun's mouth showed a sneer, and he suddenly used force in his hand. The ninja's blade was unstoppable, and it still stabbed the opponent. After Su Yun threw away the ninja's blade in his hand, there was only one genin left beside Akihara. The other 3 genin were all lying on the ground, injured and poisoned. They had no fighting power at all. Miss Akihara, I have no interest in playing anymore. My patience is limited, and you should be very clear that you can't be my opponent. Su Yun said coldly, how many people did your IGA Ryu send? How many genin do you have? According to the level of ninja, they were divided into 3 types. Genin was also known as the think tank ninja, specializing in the strategic layout of the commander's work. Of course, their strength was absolutely not to be underestimated, but they rarely participated in actual combat, unless it was a very important matter. The soul of the commander in actual combat was the genin, and the one who carried out the orders was often the genin. Obviously, Akihara was the soul of the commander of this team, but her task was to deal with Su Yun, and there would inevitably be other people leading the team to deal with Cho Yun. If they had so many targets, there would probably be people specially arranged to deal with Ruan Qingshuang and Qin Wan. Su Yun now needed to figure this out. If the other party came out in full force, then this matter would be troublesome. If you want to know the answer, then catch me first. Kiyomoto suddenly threw the ninja blade in her hand to the remaining immemorial ninja. Under her gaze, the immemorial ninja nodded obediently and suddenly pulled out his blade. With a bang, a burst of smoke exploded on the spot, accompanied by a pungent smell. Su Yun's heart trembled, and he quickly turned and withdrew from the thick smoke. Ninjas had too many means, and Su Yun didn't know whether the smoke was poisonous or not, so he didn't dare to breathe. It would be troublesome if he was hit by the smoke that he couldn't see anything. The smoke dispersed, and the 4 genin had disappeared. Only Akihara's figure was left in the river. Su Yun inadvertently saw the silver cold light on her fingers. He knew that this kind of brass knuckles Akihara wore had a very nice name, called Flying Swallow, because its shape was different from other brass knuckles. The tail was very sharp, and the extension was like a Suma's chakra blade. Its attack power could be imagined. Do you think you can be my opponent? Su Yun sneered and cracked his neck. He clenched his fists in his palms and the sound of his knuckles cracking could be heard. Su Yun did not want to waste any more time. He knew very well that the other party's goal was to stall him. In order to preserve their honor and dignity, these people didn't hesitate to bet their lives. Perhaps this was the only thing Su Yun appreciated about them. Akihara took a deep breath, put up a defensive formation, and told Su Yun very seriously and proudly, "No one can stop what we Ijiru want to do. I advise you not to waste your energy. Even if you can defeat me today, you still can't escape the punishment." Su Yun snorted and suddenly unleashed his fist technique. With a leap, he appeared in front of his opponent and launched an earth-shattering backhand straight at his opponent's face. In fact, Su Yun rarely made the first move, especially when facing women. But now that he knew that the other party was deliberately stalling him, he didn't care so much. After all, the people in the Medicinal Cuisine Hotel were very important to him. They were the ones who accompanied him through the days when he left Dragon's Fury. If it weren't for their existence, Su Yun was afraid that he would have really suffered from depression. Akihara was indeed shocked by Su Yun's shocking fist, but after she took a few steps back to avoid Su Yun's attack, she once again emphasized to herself that any sacrifice was worth it for the sake of the mission. Thinking of this, Akihara suddenly made her move. She soared into the air and used Tiger out of the cage. Two cold rays of light from the brass knuckles in her hand attacked Su-yun like two tiger teeth in the bloody mouth of a ferocious tiger. Su-yun reflexively dodged the other party's ferocious pounce. Just as he was about to make a move, he saw Akihara rush out the moment she landed. The brass knuckles in her hands merged together and stabbed directly at Su-yun's face. After all, Su-yun was made of flesh and blood. Of course, he couldn't meet the other party's sharp blade head-on. He could only continuously retreat. The moment the other party used up all her strength, Su-yun suddenly stopped and stepped back. He used the horse stance to accumulate strength and used the force of the rotation of his waist to directly elbow Akihara's left neck. If Akihara hadn't controlled the force to retreat in time, Su-yun's elbow would have definitely made her lie on the ground and play chess with Zhou Gong. After all, Akihara was a chunin. Her adaptability was very strong. Even when she was fighting with an expert like Su-yun, she didn't forget to take the opportunity to throw out 2 shurikens or poison sleeve arrows. However, Su-yun had always maintained a very high vigilance, so Akihara's several sneak attacks missed. After more than a dozen moves, if Su-yun hadn't been too cautious, the hidden weapons in the other party's hand would have probably won. Now Akihara also understood that if she continued to waste time like this, she would be the one to lose in the end. This was because she had almost used up all her hidden weapons. After the 2 blow needles failed to hit Su-yun, she had basically concluded that she would lose. Since conventional tactics didn't work, Akihara had a plan. She might as well use chaos to win. She suddenly stopped dodging any of Su-yun's moves. Her knuckles danced wildly, and she used the Mad Tiger 100 Blazes chaotic fighting move to approach Su-yun. This move was usually only used in group battles. However, in order to win against Su-yun, Qiu Yuan could only try anything he could. This Mad Tiger 100 Blaze seemed to be watertight and difficult to get close to the body, but in fact, it was full of loopholes. The reason why this Mad Tiger 100 Blaze could become an unstoppable move in a group battle was completely dependent on the opponent's lack of concentration. This was because when many people were fighting, no one would only focus on one point, so it was very difficult to see the flaw in this move. But now, all of Su-yun's attention was focused on Akihara, so this move of hers was destined to be the source of her miserable defeat. Su-yun saw the opportunity to grab Akihara's left wrist. When she was about to resist, he directly controlled her left hand to raise the knuckles and fiercely stabbed the surface of his right hand. Akihara was in pain, and the knuckles on her right hand fell to the ground. After breaking the Mad Tiger 100 Blaze, Akihara was no longer able to resist. Su-yun's punches and kicks hit her chest like a slide. After spitting out a mouthful of blood, Akihara fell heavily to the ground like a kite with a broken string. Chapter 391. After Su-yun rushed back to the Medicinal Cuisine Hotel as fast as he could, he was shocked by the scene in front of him. Nearly 300 people surrounded the entire Medicinal Cuisine Hotel. Everyone had a weapon in their hands and looked like they were going to risk their lives. Seeing Su-yun appear, the 3 tigers of Southern City led the crowd to call him brother in unison. Those who didn't know would think that Su-yun was going to hold a large-scale parade. But they knew very well, because more than 300 people had surrounded a group of Japanese people in the courtyard of the Medicinal Cuisine Hotel. Cho Yun was confronting the other party coldly, and the task of the other brothers was to not let any Japanese people go. These ninjas really admitted defeat. They had released the choking fog and smoke, but they had no chance to run when more than 300 people surrounded them. This was not a forest, there was no place to hide. Therefore, their so-called teleportation jutsu doesn't have any effect at all. What's going on? Su-yun was really dumbfounded. Why did the 3 tigers of Southern City bring so many people? Their deterrence was too great. They completely surrounded a group of about 8 ninjas who came to cause trouble. Lu Feng replied proudly, "I was about to go to bed when I received a call from Sister Yen. She said that a group of Japanese people came to the hotel to cause trouble. I was angry at that time. I immediately called Hong Ning and De Zhong. They were also angry when they found out about this. If those F*King Japanese people dare to cause trouble in our Hadong, we will be the first to stop them." not to mention causing trouble in our medicinal cuisine hotel. When we called our brothers and told them that it was the Japanese, they all came as if they had been injected with chicken blood. They all came one by one. Those who were asleep, those who had wives and children, and those who were accompanying their parents in the hospital, all of them came without saying a word. Do these bastards want to cause trouble here? Today, I will kill them and see how many lives they have. Su-yun was completely confused. Cho-yun called them here? This was not Cho-yun's style. After you left, I became a little suspicious because Japanese ninjas are really cunning. I was worried that those people came here just to lure the tiger away from the mountain. Cho-yun explained, I realized that I made a very low-level mistake. How could a ninja write their sect on their clothes? So I was a little worried. Then I called them and asked them to call as many people as they could. This is because the Japanese ninjas won't act rashly. In this kind of situation where they are outnumbered, they would rather stay put and suffer some humiliation than fight a stone with an egg. Cho-yun had successfully trapped these 8 people in the courtyard of the Medicinal Cuisine Hotel. Because Su-yun had just fought with the female ninja, he could clearly judge their level from the slight difference in their clothing. 2 chunin and 6 genin. It seems that these 2 teams worked together to do something here. To be able to bring 3 chunin out, their ability could not be underestimated. There must be a mastermind behind them. I've already taken care of your Cho-yun team. Su-yun smiled slightly. Your plan has been ruined by us. Do you still plan to continue like this? Tell me, where is the person who ordered you to come here? Without exception, all 8 of them kept their mouths shut. Su-yun moved like lightning. Before they could react, he pulled out the ninja knife from the back of one of the chunin. Without any hesitation, he stabbed it into the chunin's body. Although the ninja knife was short, it was extremely sharp. Su-yun's knife almost pierced through the man's abdomen. The man knelt on the ground and twitched non-stop. Su-yun rarely did such a ruthless thing, but he had no choice today. Against such Japanese ninjas, if he was not ruthless, his mouth would be harder than a duck's. Although Su-yun's knife seemed to have pierced through the man's abdomen, the position was just right. He did not stab any vital organs. If he was rescued in time, he would not die. It was not that Su-yun had never killed people before, but he was not addicted to it. Only perverts would like to kill people for no reason. You have 7 more chances left. Su-yun raised his eyebrows. When he said this, he pulled out the ninja knife from the back of the other chunin. This time, the few of them could not hold it in anymore. They watched as a chunin was stabbed to the ground. The 3 genin under him were completely flustered. All of their backbone was transferred to the other chunin. They would rather die than submit. The other chunin was quite aware, but before he could finish his sentence, Su-yun pierced through his forearm with the ninja knife in his hand. With a bang, 2 shurikens fell to the ground under the man's bleeding arm. At this time, he still wanted to die together with the other party. It was indeed professional. Su-yun put the knife on the chunin's neck. Do you think your spirit is very noble? You are just tools of the people above. They asked you to come out and do things. The ones who die are you, and the ones who make money are them. You should know very well what Iga Ryu is like, right? The remaining 6 genin were completely out of ideas. The 2 chunin leaders were injured. Now they were a group of dragons without a leader. Moreover, the other party had a large number of people, and the leader was ruthless. Whether it was psychologically or physically, they were under great pressure. This was originally a mission that was impossible for you to complete. You are just cannon fodder. The saddest thing is that you can't even get the money. The money is ultimately in the hands of the people who ordered you to come. Have you ever thought that your own life is also very important? Su-yun explained with reason and emotion, and the few of them looked at each other. If we tell you what you want to know, will you let us go? The chunin whose abdomen was penetrated by the ninja knife struggled on the ground. Su-yun's knife could have taken his life, but Su-yun didn't do so, which made him a little surprised. So now that Su-yun said this, he had the thought of believing it. Su-yun's answer was very certain. If I didn't let you go, do you think you can still talk to me now? The only danger you are in now is excessive bloodthirst. I know you must have the means to be self-governing, but you must leave here to have the opportunity to be self-governing. Several genin lowered their heads under Su Yun's gaze. With a chunin here, they were not qualified to make a decision. In a luxurious private room in Glory Entertainment City, 20 hostesses surrounded a man. The reason was very simple. This man was a Japanese. He was very rich and generous. If there was something unpleasant, it was that this Japanese guest didn't treat the hostesses here as human beings. The Japanese guest was in heaven in the pool of wine and forest of meat. Perhaps he didn't know that there was an idiom in Huaxia that was very suitable for his current situation, so Su Yun came this time to explain it to him. Seeing Su Yun bring the 3 tigers of South City and so many people to his place, the boss of Glory Entertainment City, Wang Hui, naturally didn't dare to be negligent. When he heard Su Yun say that he was looking for someone, and it was that Japanese, Wang Hui knew that he must be in trouble here. When the 3 tigers of South City broke in unceremoniously and kicked out all the 20 hostesses in the room, the Japanese was a little angry. But soon, Su Yun's appearance made him speechless. Su Yun looked at the familiar face. Hello, Miura Ishan. I remember that you stayed in room 404 during the 3 days you stayed in my hotel, right? Hee, the number 4 is not particularly auspicious in Huaxia. When Miura Ishan saw that Su Yun had exposed him and even knew his name, he knew that he had been betrayed by his subordinates. It seemed that the 300 million yuan was indeed not so easy to earn. He regretted it a little now, but it was too late. Mr. Miura, there is an idiom in Huaxia called extreme joy begets sorrow. Do you know what it means? It means that people can't be too complacent. If they are too complacent, they will easily be unlucky. Su Yun smiled slightly. Do you think my explanation is right? Miura Ishan sneered. Mr. Su Yun, I didn't guess wrong. You are an expert, and an expert beyond my expectations. But you should also know that as a jounin of the Ikawaryu, my strength will definitely not be bullied. Su Yun clicked his tongue. Fortunately, I knew that you were a jounin in advance. I knew that with your identity, you would definitely not cooperate obediently. I spent a little money and asked a hostess to put some medicine in your wine. It was your people who gave it to me. It's called the heart-rending powder. Miura Ishan's face instantly darkened. This medicine seemed to be quite poisonous. If the person who took it was not detoxified in time, the poisoned person's cultivation would be reduced by half every 8 hours. Su Yun touched his chin. If the poison is not detoxified in time, wouldn't it be troublesome? Your subordinate said that this is your Ikawaryu's poison, but everyone's formula is different, so the antidote is also different. After that, Su Yun took out a green pill from his pocket. This is the antidote he gave me. Mr. Miura, you don't think I'm joking with you, do you? Miura Ishan wanted to use his chi to test it, but the powerful toxicity of the heart-rending powder forced him to vomit a mouthful of poisonous blood in an instant. Miura Ishan spat out a mouthful of black to purple blood, his eyes filled with panic. This poison was really special. He was from the Ikawaryu, so he knew the consequences of not having an antidote. Give me the antidote. Miura Ishan no longer resisted. He was like a well-behaved pet in front of Su Yun. I can tell you whatever you want to know. Shunji Nakamura from Darong Electronics sent me. You can go to him if you need anything. Su Yun sneered. The difference between Ikawaryu and Koguryu is really big. In the movies, Koguryu ninjas are loyal to their king, but Ikawaryu seems to only have an employment relationship with their employer. Once your life is threatened, you don't care about anyone else. Your subordinate, Akihara Chunin, has already told me who your employer is. What I want is the address. I only know that he is in Shenzhen, and I didn't meet him at his home. Miura Ishan replied, I only know that he likes to drink wine at the bar on the 88th floor of Shinkai Hotel. I don't know anything else. Su Yun smiled and crushed the pill in his hand into powder, then blew it away. Then I'm sorry, you can only go back to Japan and ask your subordinate for the antidote because I don't know where he is now. I only know that I asked him to go back to Japan. Of course, you can't leave now. I will ask someone to accompany you for the rest of tonight. I can spare your life, but I won't raise a tiger. I need to consume the heart-rending powder in your body for 8 hours. Then, your strength won't be able to threaten me, and I won't have to worry about your revenge. Chapter 392. Originally, Su Yun wanted to go to Shenjiang to find Yu Meiren and tell her about the matter that had been bothering him for a few days. Now, Shunji Nakamura from Darong Electronics gave Su Yun another reason to go. Although the ninjas that Shunji Nakamura spent money to hire did not cause any serious consequences, Su Yun still could not forgive a Japanese who ran amok in Huaxia. However, Su Yun did not know how to explain it. If he went to Shenjiang without a word, they would definitely be worried. If he said that he was going to relax and sightsee, Guagua might not be able to hold herself back and insist on following him. After thinking about it, Su Yun still could not make a decision. However, Zhua Meiyan gave Su Yun a reason that he had to go. The arrival of the big blade Rakshasa Wang Zhe made Chou Yen almost mistakenly think that Green Ghost was going to make a comeback. After driving for an afternoon, Wang Zhe found the Medicinal Cuisine Hotel. It was already past 8 o'clock in the evening. When he was asking Dan Jiahao where Su Yun was at the door, he was bumped into by Chou Yen, who had just returned after patrolling outside for a week. Coincidentally, the two of them were from the same sect, but not the same sect. Chou Yun and Wang Zhe had met a few times before they finished their apprenticeship, so they had heard some news about each other. Because there was some conflict between the two sects, Chou Yun's first reaction when she saw Wang Zhe was still very vigilant. "Why are you here, Fox? Fox Venerable?" Wang Zhe was also dumbfounded. Ever since he found out about Su Hang Feng Qian Sui, the reputation of the violent Fox Venerable had almost disappeared in the underground world. He did not expect her to be cultivating in a small city like Hadong. She looked very timid, and there was no longer a cold, murderous aura around her. Chou Yun was not very familiar with Wang Zhe. She only knew him and heard of him, but there was no friendship to speak of. Therefore, Chou Yun was not friendly, and her voice was obviously a bit of a questioning tone. "Why are you here?" Wang Zhe had heard of the violent Fox Venerable's reputation, so he hurriedly explained, "Don't misunderstand, I'm just here to look for someone." "Sister Yen, do you know this person?" He said he was looking for Brother Yun. "Is he really Brother Yun's friend?" When Dan Jiahao saw Chou Yun's expression, he could not help but suspect Wang Zhe. He stretched out his hand and gestured behind him, signaling a few security brothers on duty to come over. Before Wang Zhe came, Zhua Meiyan had repeatedly told them that they could offend Su Yun, but they could never offend the people around Su Yun, because Su Yun had a big taboo, which was that he cared a lot about the people around him. Zhua Meiyan was also one of Su Yun's people. Of course, the so-called people around Su Yun were not only women. As long as any of his subordinates were sincere to him, he would not forgive anyone who bullied them. Therefore, even if Wang Zhe only needed to hook his finger to get rid of these security guards, he was not angry at all. "I'm really Brother Yun's friend. Please tell him that I'm from Jibei. My name is Wang Zhe. He must know." "Why are you looking for Su Yun?" Chou Yun frowned. "Do you know each other?" "I don't dare to say that I know him. He's my boss's friend. Brother Yun and I have only met once. But I admire Brother Yun's way of doing things." Wang Zhe said lightly, "I'm here this time because of my boss." When Chou Yun heard that Wang Zhe was from Jibei, she could not help but be startled. "Do you know Tang Jiu of the Tang Group?" Wang Zhe smiled. "Of course. Not long ago, the Tang family was in chaos. When Brother Yun was not in Jibei, my boss asked me to help Brother Yun secretly protect Miss Tang for a few days. Miss Tang seems to be a very good friend of Brother Yun. Otherwise, why would he help so much?" "Ha, elder sister Yen. He knows elder sister Tang Jiu. It seems that he is really Brother Yun's friend." Dan Jiahao's attitude was much friendlier. He looked at Wang Zhe with a smile. "I'll call Brother Yun now. Su Yun really did not expect Wang Zhe to come to this place. Ruan Qingxuang saw that there were guests and immediately served tea. Wang Zhe was flattered. He did not expect these people to be so friendly to him. What's the matter? Su Yun smiled. Wang Zhe was Zhua Meiyen's subordinate. Although Zhua Meiyen's relationship with him was not ordinary, with Zhua Meiyen's character, she would definitely not come to the temple for no reason. Wang Zhe looked up at the others and hesitated to speak. Elder sister Shuang, Cho Yun, you don't have to take care of us. Go do your own things. I'll talk to him for a while. Su Yun smiled. If there's anything, I'll call you. The two understood Su Yun's meaning and turned to leave. At this time, Wang Zhe said, Brother Yun, I didn't come to see you this time because of President Zhua. I wanted to come. You came to see me? Su Yun was still a little confused. If you need my help, just tell me. As long as it's within my power, I won't treat you as an outsider. Wang Zhe was very grateful. He swallowed and said, Brother Yun, I'm really flattered that you can say that. If it's really my business, I wouldn't dare to trouble you. President Zhua is in some trouble. What happened to her? Although Su Yun usually felt that Zhua Meiyen was heartless, if Zhua Meiyen was really in trouble, he would definitely be the first person to stand up for her. After all, he saved her life that year. Zhua Meiyen was also the first girl to say that she would repay him with her body. More importantly, during those busy days Su Yun, Zhua Meiyen replaced him to accompany his godfather, Zhang Taisui, through the last 3 years of his life. Therefore, Su Yun was grateful to Zhua Meiyen. Although Zhua Meiyen did all this to repay Su Yun's kindness. However, Su Yun still felt that there was no need for Zhua Meiyen to remember the things he had done. That was because those were the tasks that he should have done, the responsibilities that he should have fulfilled with his identity. Now, some people in the company want to usurp power. This time, the company held a board meeting in Shenzhen. Some of the executives seemed to have made a plan in private. They were all questioning President Zhua about the CEO position. Wang Zhe frowned and said, when Zhang Taisui passed away, President Zhua was appointed as the acting director. Although it was Zhang Taisui who appointed him, many people still refused to accept it. So, at that time, President Zhua promised that sooner or later, he would invite back Zhang Taisui's only godson. Su Yun didn't say anything. He quietly listened to Wang Zhe's statement. He was Zhang Taisui's only godson. This was something that all of the executives in Sky Entertainment knew. But other than Zhua Meiyen and Feng Ying, no one else had seen Zhang Taisui when he was alive. Now, everyone in the company is saying that President Zhua is trying to usurp power and has no intention of inviting back Zhang Taisui's godson. Wang Zhe looked at Su Yun and said, I believe that President Zhua wouldn't lie. You are Zhang Taisui's godson. Su Yun didn't answer. He silently agreed. This was the truth. He couldn't deny it. If it wasn't for Zhang Taisui, he still wouldn't know what he was doing. Was he a beggar? Or was he a thief? Or perhaps he was a demonic tyrant who committed all kinds of evil deeds. This time, the board meeting in Shenzhen didn't go well. With Guo Chuanjiang as the leader, Qin Tianjian, Zhou Buoqing, and the others all questioned President Zhua. Wang Zhe continued, You met Guo Chuanjiang in President Zhua's office. Ling Zhiling told me this. She said that Guo Chuanjiang wanted to take advantage of her and you helped him. When Guo Chuanjiang found out that you were Zhang Taisui's godson, he was still holding a grudge against you. So this time, when President Zhua mentioned you at the board meeting, he fanned the flames and said a lot of bad things. Su Yun frowned. Zhua Meiyen didn't need to be polite to them. She was the one Zhang Taisui pointed out. Why should she be polite to Guo Chuanjiang and the others? Brother Yun, you don't know. They are all people who have followed Zhang Taisui to build up his empire. They all have their own solid foundations and they all have their own jobs to control. Wang Zhe shook his head. That's why President Zhua can't act rashly. Plus, President Zhua said that she is only the acting president. She doesn't have the power to revoke the top management's authority. The only one who can do it is you. But she doesn't want to force you to do something you don't like. So, President Zhua has been in a dilemma. She wants you to stand up and take charge of the overall situation, but she doesn't know how to ask you. She tried a few times, but you didn't want to take over Sky Entertainment. So, she has been taking all the difficulties by herself. Su Yun roughly understood what Wang Zhe meant. You want me to help her at the board meeting? Wang Zhe nodded. Gua Chuanjiang is using the Qingdao Film and Television Plaza project as a threat to force Mr. Zhua to step down. Because the Qingdao Film and Television Plaza is Sky Entertainment's biggest project in recent years, Gua Chuanjiang wants to use it to take over Mr. Zhua. Seeing that Su Yun didn't say anything, Wang Zhe added, they deny that you are Zhang Taisui's godson. They want President Zhua to find the real successor. Otherwise, after the board meeting, they will force President Zhua to hand over the CEO's authority. Unfortunately, they have a lot of people and they have been deceived by Gua Chuanjiang. At this time, President Zhua has to convince them with her virtue. If she really does something to Gua Chuanjiang and the others, she will be met with even more suspicion. More people will think that President Zhua is going against Zhang Taisui's will and doesn't want to find the real successor. Su Yun smiled. That's why Zhua Meiyan really needs me, the true successor, to take over Sky Entertainment. She's asked me a few times before, but I've rejected her every time. She also promised me that I could take over whenever I wanted. So, she thinks it's a bit hard for me to ask me to do it now. So, she wants me to face this problem alone? Wang Zhe nodded. Yes, Brother Yun, you are the only one who can save Sky Entertainment. If Sky Entertainment were to fall into the hands of Gua Chuanjiang and the others, it would ruin the old man's hard work. They are a pack of wolves. If it weren't for the old man's support, Gua Chuanjiang would probably still be a laborer working from dawn to dusk. Now that the old man has been gone for so long, he seems to have forgotten how to write the word kindness. Why is the board meeting in Shenzhen? Su Yun didn't understand. Shenzhen is the most prosperous place in Huaxia. After all, Sky Entertainment is one of the biggest companies in Huaxia's entertainment industry. They must have enough face. Wang Zhe smiled. Su Yun nodded. Okay, I'll go with you. I have some business to take care of in Shenzhen. When are we leaving? The sooner the better. Wang Zhe said excitedly. Chapter 393. Su Yun asked someone to arrange a room for Wang Zhe and went upstairs to find Ruan Qingshuang. He felt that it was necessary to tell Ruan Qingshuang about his situation so that he could get her understanding and support. Although Su Yun didn't need to ask for leave for anyone when he went to Shenzhen, he still wanted to respect them. Guagua finished her homework early today, so Ruan Qingshuang, Qin Wan and Chou Yun were playing checkers with her. The four of them played happily on the big bed. Because Guagua always cheated, when they saw Su Yun come in, they didn't have the time to look up at him. Even Ruan Qingshuang just stared at the chessboard and said, I'm coming. Then she continued to supervise Guagua. What are you playing? Why are you so serious? Su Yun walked over and glanced at them. Checkers. When you play with Guagua, do you think you can win? Just when Guagua wanted to explain that she often cheated and jumped 2 squares at a time, Qin Wan jumped the last chess piece at lightning speed and exclaimed, I won. Ha ha ha. A game of checkers full of disputes and cheating finally ended. Ruan Qingshuang took the chess pieces away and took a bottle of milk tea from the fridge for everyone. Do you want to hear a story? Su Yun smiled and said to Guagua, my story. Guagua nodded seriously. Yes. Ruan Qingshuang, who was originally full of curiosity about Su Yun, immediately stopped what she was doing and looked back. Chou Yun was also stunned. She knew that Su Yun's identity was very special, so she never asked about Su Yun's story. Now that Su Yun took the initiative to tell his own story, how could she not be shocked? Tell your story when you were young or how the Iron Man was made. Qin Wan was also curious, but she was curious about why Su Yun was so strong. She was curious about how she could become like Su Yun and Chou Yun. In that way, she would definitely be the real weirdo of the entire Hadong police force. Su Yun looked up out of the window and said calmly, "I'm not an orphan, but I'm almost like an orphan. Because I haven't seen my parents until now. I don't know where they are, what they are called, or what they do. When I was young, I was sent to that isolated place by Zhang Tai-sui, who adopted me." Su Yun's voice was peaceful and calm, which made people who heard it couldn't help but feel lonely. Ruan Qingxuang and Qin Wan couldn't understand how it felt to not see your parents. Guagua looked at Su Yun quietly. She wanted to say that although she had heard that she had a good time with her parents, she couldn't remember it at all. "If it weren't for Zhang Tai-sui, I don't know what my life would be like," Su Yun continued, "but I believe that it would be 1,000,000 times worse than it is now. I would only be a beggar, a thief, a criminal. I would be a piece of garbage that wouldn't play any role in society. So I'm very grateful to Zhang Tai-sui for adopting me and sending me to that place. He let me go through a lot of hardships in that place and let me become the person I am today." Ruan Qingxuang didn't have any feelings for her parents, but even so, she felt that her childhood was much happier than Su Yun's. Seeing Su Yun's calm expression, Ruan Qingxuang asked softly, "They abandoned you. Do you hate them?" "Hate. I hated them very much at the beginning. Because if I had parents, maybe I wouldn't have had to endure so much hardships in that place. At that time, I was much younger than Guagua. I didn't like the place that tortured me every day. I didn't like the days when I had to be woken up to receive training before I could fall asleep." Su Yun thought that he was still a snot-nosed bug at that time and couldn't help laughing. "At that time, I loved to cry, but every time I cried, I had no food to eat. After a few times of starvation, I forgot how to cry. From then on, no matter how much pain I suffered, I would endure it, because I knew that once I cried, I would have no food to eat." Qin Wan opened her mouth wide. "What kind of place was that?" Su Yun laughed at himself again. "Oh, at that time, I thought that I would be trained to be a killer. I thought that it was a den of demons. I thought that I was abandoned by Zhang Tai-sui. When I slowly became sensible, I realized Zhang Tai-sui's good intentions for me. Every day, I was the most active one in training. What my master asked me to do, I did double my best to complete. When I carried out my first mission, I finally found the value of my life. When I saved the first person in a drug dealer's base, I realized how great it was to bring hope to others." Everyone didn't say anything. Su Yun didn't explain the place clearly. It must be for confidentiality, but they all roughly understood that it was a secret agency of the state. Because I was a child who couldn't see any hope since I was a child, I especially wanted others to see hope. When I thought so, I found that I also saw my own hope. The smile on Su Yun's face came from the bottom of his heart. When I saw hope, I understood the meaning of life. After that day, I fell in love with that place. I fell in love with the place that exhausted everything I had every day. At that time, I swore that I would never let anyone who was sincere to me suffer any harm." When Su Yun finished speaking, Cho Yun asked tentatively, "The Zhang Tai-sui you mentioned, is he the founder of Sky Entertainment Group, Zhang Laoji?" Su Yun nodded. "Yes." "Wow." As soon as he said this, everyone was shocked. Even Guagua knew the status of Sky Entertainment Group in Huaxia's entertainment industry. Not to mention A-list female stars like Ling Jieling and Fan Bingbing. Idol groups like June Day were also made famous by Sky Entertainment Group. It could be said that Sky Entertainment Group's influence in Huaxia's entertainment industry was very, very big. Guagua's eyes widened. "Godfather, if that's the case, then Zhang Laoji is my godfather? Does that mean I can get the autograph of any star I want in the future?" "Yes." Su Yun nodded helplessly. "This little girl, how old is she to chase stars? You can get the autograph of anyone you want." Qin Wan frowned. "The founder of Sky Entertainment Group, Zhang Laoji, has passed away. Su Yun, are you okay?" Ruan Qingxuang didn't pay much attention to these things, so she hadn't heard about it. Now that she heard Qin Wan say this, she couldn't help but exclaim and cover her mouth. She didn't care about Sky Entertainment Group, but Zhang Laoji could be said to be the only person close to Su Yun in the world. It's been a long time. Su Yun took a deep breath. I didn't even attend the memorial service. Am I unfilial? It's not that I didn't want to go, but I was really on a mission at the time. I didn't know at all. I didn't know until the mission was over. I didn't even have the face to kowtow in front of his grave. Although he sent me away when I could remember, and we didn't have any contact after that, I still felt that he cared about me very much. It's my biggest regret that I couldn't be with him until the end of his life. Ruan Qingxuang was so moved that her eyes turned red. It's all in the past. Don't think too much about it. Su Yun shrugged. To be honest, I feel like I'm very cold. After Grandpa Zhang passed away, I didn't shed a single tear. Grandpa Zhang didn't have a wife or children. His only son was me. He wanted to leave Sky Entertainment Group to me, but I kept running away. Now someone wants to take the opportunity to steal Grandpa Zhang's life's work. I don't want those people to succeed. Qin Wan swore that this was the largest inheritance she had ever heard of in her life. The entire Sky Entertainment Group. Is Su Yun crazy? What's there to run away from? Hua Xia is a big shot in the entertainment industry. Whether it's a big director or a big star, they all have to be respectful to him. What kind of feeling is that? Chou Yun was just as shocked. She finally understood why Ling Zhiling called him Crown Prince. Su Yun really is the Crown Prince of Sky Entertainment Group. Ruan Qingxuang didn't understand why Su Yun wanted to run away. Maybe it was because she didn't know how big of a mess it was. If she knew how much Sky Entertainment Group was worth, she would probably run away too. We can't let those people succeed. Guagua raised her small arms in indignation. Daddy, I support you in defeating those people. If you don't take over Sky Entertainment Group, my god-grandfather will be very, very unhappy. So you have to take responsibility. Su Yun knew what Guagua was thinking. She only thought that if he could take over Sky Entertainment Group, she would have the opportunity to meet all kinds of stars. She would be the little princess in the eyes of those people in the headlines. She didn't have any other thoughts. Sky Entertainment Group was holding a board meeting in Shenzhen. Someone was trying to usurp power. Su Yun looked at them and said, Wang Zhe came to me because he hopes that I can go over and solve the problem Sky Entertainment is facing. I've agreed. Ruan Qingxuang nodded. I support you. You have to deal with this. I support you too. Haha, but when you become the CEO of Sky Entertainment Group, can you let me release an album or something? My singing isn't bad. Qin Wan smiled and said, if I don't have to go to work, I want to go with you to see the big scene. Chou Yun knew what Su Yun meant. Since he had made a decision, of course she would support him unconditionally. I'm here. Don't worry and go deal with your own things. We all understand how you feel. Daddy, I want to be a cheerleader with you. I want to be your strong support. Guagua licked her small lips and looked at Su Yun with anticipation. Without Su Yun's rejection, Ruan Qingxuang directly cut off Guagua's thoughts. Go to school obediently. Don't go anywhere. If you want to see stars, there will be plenty of opportunities in the future. Not now. If you're on vacation, Mom won't stop you. Su Yun shook his head helplessly. Guagua sighed. Even a Taiwanese accent won't work. Really, I don't like you anymore. Humph. When are you leaving? Ruan Qingxuang took Guagua in her arms. Tomorrow. Su Yun said indifferently. He was very happy that they could understand him and support him. Chapter 394. The next morning, Su Yun woke Wang Zhe up at 5 o'clock. If he left early, Zhua Meiyan wouldn't be in so much trouble. Zhua Meiyan was suffering because of Su Yun, so Su Yun felt bad. It was just Sky Entertainment. He didn't believe he couldn't handle it. Wang Zhe wanted to go back early. He didn't tell Zhua Meiyan that the board meeting would continue today. If Su Yun could arrive in time, Guo Chuanjiang and the others would shut up. Wang Zhe was excited at the thought. He was loyal to Zhua Meiyan, so he didn't want to see her being questioned at the board meeting. We can definitely make it in time for the meeting at 10 o'clock. Wang Zhe looked at the time. At the end of every year, Sky Entertainment's board meeting would be held for many days. It would be held from 10 o'clock to 12 o'clock, and from 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Each meeting would be 2 hours long, and there would be a main topic. For example, the development of the entertainment industry, the renewal of the artists next year, or whether to poach an influential artist. In short, the meeting usually lasted for many days. Yesterday's main topic was the development of the entertainment industry, and the biggest issue was the construction of the Qingdao Film and Television City. However, because Guo Chuanjiang took the lead and changed the topic to Zhang Taisui's dying wish, it caused people to speculate whether Zhou Meiyan was a usurper. So yesterday, no serious business was discussed. Su Yun wasn't interested in the board meeting. He just wanted to see what the people who were promoted by Zhang Taisui were up to. Even if he took over Sky Entertainment, he would mainly leave it to Zhou Meiyan because he didn't know much about the entertainment industry. Usually, the entertainment news he cared about was nothing more than how Mr. Chen took photos, who he was with, and who he was in a scandal with. Moreover, Su Yun was sure that if he took over Sky Entertainment Corporation, this matter would definitely become a headline. He still had to explain himself. If he accidentally stole Teacher Wang's headline, he hoped that Teacher Wang wouldn't blame him, because he definitely didn't mean it. No matter how unintentional it was, he still liked listening to Teacher Wang's songs. After Wang Zhe got in the car, he turned on the CD, and a deafening song came out from the powerful Bose sound system. Give me your hands and your waist, let us melt into this rhythm, don't care about yesterday's sad scenes, don't care about those unfulfilled promises. Let us rock together, forget all the pain, and rock together. Who knows what will happen tomorrow, so let us rock together to our heart's content right now. Su Yun gave him a thumbs up. Good tastes. Ha, I'm sorry brother, I'm sorry. I was sleepy on the way to Hadong. That's why I played's voice. Wang Zhe grinned. I like it. Su Yun found a comfortable position and sat down. It seemed like Wang Zhe was also a car lover. Although his cheap Mercedes-Benz wasn't a supercar, after his modifications, whether it was in terms of power or sound, it wasn't much worse than those supercars. Car modification enthusiasts who liked to play with cars and didn't care about trifles didn't have many requirements. They only needed power and sound, nothing else. In their eyes, cars that had changed their wheel hubs, changed their color film, added daytime running lights, or changed their headlights were nothing but child's play. After Wang Zhe got on the highway, he was like a completely different person from when he was driving in the city. He stepped on the gas and easily reached 200 kilometers per hour. The speeding penalty was so severe, yet you still dared to drive so fast? Su Yun wasn't worried about his driving skills. He was worried that the penalty wouldn't be enough. Wang Zhe grinned and shook his 5 fingers. Brother Yun, the horsepower of my car has been modified to exceed this. The engine has been changed to an 8-cylinder one. I definitely won't be able to pass the inspection. It doesn't matter. Anyway, no one in Jibei City will investigate me. Also, I rarely drive far away. Su Yun gave him a thumbs up. The original car had at most 200 horsepower. Wang Zhe had modified it to 500 horsepower. This was too crazy. The Ferrari FF that Zui Yeming drove to pick up Su Yun in Suang only had 660 horsepower. That car was 5 to 6 million yuan. It was 7 to 8 times more expensive than Wang Zhe's car. With his driving skills, Su Yun knew why he dared to say that he would be able to make it in time for the board meeting at 10 in the morning. He finished the 5-hour journey in just 3 hours. He even rested twice in the middle of the journey. If this guy wasn't in the underworld, he would be able to make a name for himself on the racing track. At 9:15, Wang Zhe brought Su Yun to the hotel booked by Shenzhen City's Sky Entertainment Group. Su Yun raised his head and looked at the signboard of Xing Kai Hotel. He couldn't help but look up. Is there a bar on the 88th floor? Yes, Brother Yun, have you been there before? The alcohol in the bar was too expensive. Some of them cost a few 100,000 yuan. Wang Zhe pursed his lips. A few 100,000 yuan could completely upgrade a car to a new level. Su Yun shook his head. No, I haven't been there before. However, it wasn't easy for him to come to Shenzhen. No matter what, he had to go up and sit, right? Maybe he could even meet that bastard Shunji Nakamura inside. This time, Su Yun wouldn't just give him a verbal warning. He also didn't care if his bodyguards would be forced to commit seppuku as an apology because their master was beaten up. Let's go upstairs directly to find Director Zhua. Wang Zhe said, she will be very surprised when she sees you. Su Yun shook his head. I won't go up first. The meeting probably hasn't started yet. It won't be too late for me to go when it starts. Also, don't tell her that I'm here. Once she knows I'm here, she won't know how to deal with it. Wang Zhe thought for a moment. Then I won't go up either. When directors asks me, I won't know how to answer. I'll just wait for you. The two of them just sat in the car and watched the various luxury cars coming in and out of Xingkai Hotel. If one didn't have some money, they definitely wouldn't be able to afford to stay in such a place. Even the most basic standard room cost 2,998 yuan. It was really not an ordinary black hole. Suddenly, a Barbossa slowly drove into the hotel. Wang Zhe's eyes lit up. He pointed to the black luxury car and said, "This is Gua Chuanjiang's car. I didn't expect this guy to come so early. He wasn't so enthusiastic yesterday. Yesterday, he was 15 minutes late. He said there was a traffic jam." "He didn't stay in the hotel?" Su Yun asked. Although his room was booked, he didn't stay in the hotel. Many senior executives didn't stay in the hotel. Wang Zhe disdainfully said, "They all have houses in Shenzhen, and they all have women. Their houses are decorated more luxuriously than the hotel, so of course they won't stay in the hotel." Although directors said that they must stay in the hotel during the meeting, there are only a few people who really abide by it. They can't check the room, and they said that they are just going to see a friend to discuss business. Director Zhua has nothing to refute. Closely behind the Barbossa, another silver luxury car worth more than 2 million slowly drove in. Wang Zhe pointed again and said, "This is Qin Tianjian's Carlson." He and Gua Chuanjiang were both brought up by old Tai Sui. Both of them have a hobby, that is, they like to drive rare cars on the market, the less the better. They have a common mentality, that is, they especially want to get other people's attention. They like the feeling of being looked at high above others. Before Qin Tianjian met the old man, he was much worse off than Gua Chuanjiang. Gua Chuanjiang's business is at least called small business. Qin Tianjian was holding a foam insulator and selling popsicles on the street. Su Yun smiled. Old Master Zhang was too interesting. Why did he like these down-and-out guys so much? Before Wang Zhe finished talking about Qin Tianjian, a nouveau riche golden BMW 750 drove over. Wang Zhe immediately shouted, "Zhou Boqing, the nouveau riche, is here." He and the old man used to have business dealings, but later this guy went bankrupt. It was the old man who helped him, so he didn't fall to the street and beg for food. He is a nouveau riche. He likes BMWs, especially the 7 Series. Do you know how stupid he is? He bought 3 in one breath, all 7 Series, black, white, and gold. He said he liked all 3 colors. I really don't understand how the old man could be friends with him. Su Yun smiled as he watched the 3 luxury cars park in front of the hotel. He handed the cars over to the hotel service driver. It seemed that the 3 of them were familiar with this place and were regulars. After the 3 of them got off the car, they walked together. They didn't shake hands or hug each other to express their affection. Gua Chuanjiang just took out a box of yellow Crane Tower 1916 from his pocket and gave one to each of them. He also lit one for himself. The 3 of them chatted and laughed as they walked into the hotel lobby. Wang Zhe frowned. They don't look that close. When they questioned Mr. Zhua yesterday, the 3 of them were surprisingly united. It was as if they had discussed it beforehand. It shouldn't be as if they had discussed it beforehand. Soo-yoon calmly analyzed. Think about it, as a senior executive of Sky Entertainment Group, when he meets a business partner or a senior executive, he should at least have the basic social etiquette of shaking hands. However, the three of them didn't even shake hands. If that's the case, they can still be very consistent in their statements. This can only mean that the three of them must be closer than we thought. After listening to Soo-yoon's analysis, Wang Zhe couldn't help but nod in agreement. He recalled that when the three of them met other senior executives, they were very polite. They shook hands and said hello. Some of them even hugged each other affectionately. But the three of them didn't do anything. They just smiled at each other and passed each other a cigarette. At this time, a few more luxury cars came in one after another. Wang Zhe briefly explained their identities to Soo-yoon, and then roughly explained their positions. According to Wang Zhe's observation, now most people had opinions about President Zhua. Only a few people still supported President Zhua to continue to be the president. The others were all asking for a change and recommending a new president. When it was 2 minutes to 10 o'clock, Soo-yoon said unhurriedly, "Let's go. Take me up." Chapter 395. The elevator quickly brought Soo-yoon and Wang Zhe to the floor where the conference room was located. As soon as the two stepped out of the elevator, they were stopped by a slender figure. Wang Zhe froze for a moment. Before he could speak, Soo-yoon gestured for him to find a place to rest and leave the rest to him. Speaking of Fong Ying, she was definitely the most competent senior secretary in Sky Entertainment. She was also the only secretary in Sky Entertainment who was in charge of astronomy and geography. Because she grew up by Zhang Taisui's side, even Zhou Meiyan had to give her face. Needless to say, everyone else was also in awe of her. Moreover, Fong Ying's workability was too strong. Under her care, she trained administrative secretaries, personal secretaries, conference secretaries, public relations secretaries. Each one of them was a talent in their own field. And these senior secretaries she trained were all by the side of the higher-ups, significantly increasing the efficiency of Sky Entertainment. Even Zhang Taisui said he couldn't compare to her. Although Soo-yoon and Fong Ying didn't meet very often, at least every time Soo-yoon came to visit Zhang Taisui, Fong Ying would be there. Zhang Taisui said she was his left and right hand. Once he left Fong Ying, he couldn't do many things smoothly. Therefore, Fong Ying's position in Sky Entertainment was very special. Looking at Fong Ying in front of him, Soo-yoon smiled. "Sister Fong Ying, I haven't seen you for a few days and you've become prettier. Every time I see you, I feel like you're younger than last time. What kind of rejuvenating medicine did you take? It's impossible that I'm younger than last time, but you're much better at talking than before." "There's no doubt about that." Fong Ying smiled slightly. Soo-yoon's flattery was quite effective. No woman would not like a handsome young man to praise her for being young and beautiful, especially a woman like Fong Ying who was already in her 30s. Perhaps they did not say it out loud, but they definitely cared about it in their hearts. Fong Ying pointed at the other end of the corridor. "The meeting has already begun. To be honest, I didn't expect you to come. When I found out Wang Zhe left Shenzhen, I've been wondering where he would go. I thought of many possibilities, but I didn't expect him to invite you. Just now, I accidentally saw Wang Zhe's car coming back from upstairs, so I went down to take a look." Soo-yoon smiled. "Then why didn't Sister Fong Ying say hello to me? Since Gua Chuanjiang's car arrived at the hotel, I don't know what kind of surprise you want to give them, so I can only ignore you for now." Fong Ying smiled and said, "I haven't told Mei Yan that you're here yet. I'm worried that once she knows you're here, she won't know how to deal with Gua Chuanjiang and the others." Soo-yoon nodded and said, "That's right. That's why I didn't dare to tell her that I came. I was also afraid that she wouldn't know how to deal with those guys. I didn't think Sky Entertainment would have this kind of problem. If the old man was still alive, I wouldn't even dare to think about it." Fong Ying didn't answer this question. She raised her hand to signal Soo-yoon to follow her in. If Soo-yoon went in now, Sky Entertainment's board of directors would be in an uproar. I wanted to go to the door and listen. Zhua Mei Yen wasn't someone who admitted defeat so easily. Su Yun nodded and followed Feng Ying. The two stopped at the door of the meeting room. Through the crack in the door, they could roughly hear the argument inside. In order to win the atmosphere, everyone's voice was loud. Zhua Mei Yen didn't seem to be flustered by the questioning. Her aura was still strong. As I said, I already know where old Tai Sui's godson is, but he isn't ready to take over Sky Entertainment yet. This is the last time I'll say this. If you still want to continue this topic, don't blame me for not giving face to anyone. Zhua Mei Yen was already very disgusted by this topic. She was currently concerned about the construction of the Qingdao Film and Television Plaza. This was Zhang Taisui's lifelong pursuit. He wanted to create an Oriental Hollywood, the largest film and television plaza in the world. Nowadays, everyone in the film industry was proud of being able to go to Cannes and Venice. Celebrities even considered walking the red carpet at those places as their lifelong dream. Zhang Taisui wanted to overturn this traditional way of thinking. He wanted the film industry in the world to be proud of going to his film and television plaza to walk the red carpet of Huaxia. Although Zhang Taisui had gone to another world before the project was completed, Zhua Meiyan still swore to complete it. The project was now in the implementation stage. The person in charge of it was Gua Chuanjiang, the noodle stall owner who was brought up by Zhang Taisui. Perhaps humans were too selfish and greedy. When Zhang Taisui was alive, these people who were always respectful to him started to have their own ideas. When this important matter was in Gua Chuanjiang's hands, Gua Chuanjiang brought up another topic. President Zhua, don't blame us for being concerned about this. Gua Chuanjiang's voice was very unique, so Su Yun could tell that this was definitely the fat man with big ears and a body full of muscles. This was related to the future of Sky Entertainment. Every one of the higher-ups present here admires Zhang Taisui to the point of prostrating themselves before him. Which one of us doesn't place Zhang Taisui's matters more important than our own parents, wives, and children? Don't you think so? How long have you been in charge of Sky Entertainment? And you still haven't found Zhang Taisui's successor. How do you expect us to work with peace of mind? Zhua Mei Yen sneered. What does this have to do with your peace of mind? Did you not put your heart into your work before? Sky Entertainment can't be changed by one person. Since you want to give Sky Entertainment's successor a perfect explanation, then all the more reason to work on the Qingdao Film and Television Plaza. When the Qingdao Film and Television Plaza is completed, I'll give you an answer. A slightly hoarse voice followed. President Zhua, when that day comes, it's not certain whether Sky Entertainment will be handed over to Zhang Taisui's successor. Once the Film and Television Plaza is completed, we'll invite all the entertainment tycoons and film tycoons from all over the world, as well as all the international A-listers to come and support us. Whoever presides over the ceremony will be the successor of Sky Entertainment in the eyes of the world. Are you going to wait until that day to find the successor? Or are you saying that when that day comes, Sky Entertainment will be yours? Feng Ying whispered to Su Yun. Zhou Buocheng. Su Yun's memory was pretty good. He quickly connected the speaker with the nouveau riche who got out of the golden BMW 750. The man wasn't very tall, and he was slightly chubby. He wore 4 jade rings on both of his hands. The Tian Huang jade ring on his left thumb was definitely expensive. It was said that it was priced at 50 to 60,000 yuan per gram on the market. Su Yun estimated that the ring was close to 50 grams. It was probably worth a few 100,000 yuan more than his golden BMW. Zhou Buocheng, you can eat whatever you want, but you can't say whatever you want. Zhua Meiyan's emotions were clearly a bit agitated. Su Yun had saved her and her brother's life, and Zhang Taisui had adopted her and her brother. In this lifetime, she would never have any ill intentions towards Zhang Taisui and Su Yun. Now that Zhou Buocheng had actually splashed dirty water on her, she was somewhat unable to accept it. Boss Zhua, don't get too emotional. Another rough voice said, maybe Boss Zhou and Boss Gua are a little too much. I can understand what you're thinking. We're all doing this for the good of Sky Entertainment. There's no doubt about that. But what you're doing now will more or less make people think the wrong way. Ever since Zhang Taisui passed away, you've been in charge of the company. You've always been a man of your word. We can't accept your arbitrary way of doing things. Now that you can't push out Zhang Taisui's successor, it's bound to make people suspicious. Qin Tianjian. Feng Ying knew their voices like the back of her hand. Su Yun recalled that the middle-aged man who got out of the Silva Carlson was very tall. He was a head taller than Zhou Buocheng. Although he had a unique taste in cars, Su Yun believed that he didn't have much taste. He only chose this brand because it was rare to see this brand of luxury car on the market. It could be seen from his outfit. He was wearing a Chinese tunic suit, casual pants, and a pair of extremely colorful emerald green LV sneakers. Although this pair of shoes cost more than $1,000, it more or less made people feel a little funny when matched with his outfit. After all, he was born selling popsicles on the street. Even if he had more money than he could spend in his lifetime, his taste was still at a beginner level. He was wearing a $1,000 LV sneaker, but he was far less fashionable than the hooligans on the street who wore a 100 RMB sneaker. They were both good cop and bad cop. The three of them must have a good relationship, right? Su Yun smiled. Feng Ying probably knew more about them than Zhua Meiyan. After all, the three of them had been with Zhang Taisui for a long time. Feng Ying shook her head. My understanding of them is the same as President's was understanding of them. Before Zhang Taisui left, the three of them would never have said such things. In front of Zhang Taisui, they were always respectful. They were respectful and didn't have any other thoughts in their hearts. They were definitely loyal to Zhang Taisui. But after Zhang Taisui passed away, I seem to be getting to know them all over again. It's not easy for a person to hold on to their feelings of gratitude for so long. Su Yun smiled. At least the three of them worked wholeheartedly for the Sky Entertainment Group before the old man left. With this capital, I'm afraid I have to be respectful in front of them. Haha, after all, I didn't contribute anything to the Sky Entertainment Group. Feng Ying smiled and didn't reply. Chapter 396. Feng Ying could only shake her head helplessly. After all, her status was different. Although she had a high position in Sky Entertainment and was in charge of a lot of things, she didn't have any actual power. To make an inappropriate comparison, Feng Ying's status in Sky Entertainment was equivalent to the palace's minister of the imperial household, while Guo Chuanjiang and the others were all first-rank officials. Hearing Zhua Meiyan's words, Guo Chuanjiang was a bit angry. President Zhua, you can't say that. What do you mean by the result of our private discussion? How many years have I been in Sky Entertainment? Oh right, you don't know. I've been in Sky Entertainment much longer than you. Although Zhang Taisui took you in as his disciple and your status seems to be higher than mine, Zhang Taisui was also personally taught by me. But then again, I was also brought up by Zhang Taisui. Although he and I are not master and disciple in name, we still have a master and disciple relationship. Not just me, President Qin and President Zhou are also master and disciple. So let's not beat around the bush. Let's put everything on the table. President Zhua, if you don't want to hear it, you shouldn't say that we discussed it in private. The corners of Su Yun's mouth curled up slightly, and there was a hint of evil in his smile. Guo Chuanjiang sure knows how to flatter himself. The relationship between master and disciple, to think that his oily brain could think of such a thing. As the saying goes, 3 heads are better than zhuge liang. The three of them obviously have some ability. Otherwise, Zhang Taisui wouldn't have taken them in. Only Zhua Meiyan can stand it. Then why don't you go in and help her out? Feng Ying looked straight at Su Yun. As long as Su Yun said the word, she would immediately push open the door and go in. If Su Yun appeared now, the people inside would be completely dumbfounded. Wait a bit. Su Yun shook his head. I don't think Zhua Meiyan has reached her limit yet. She hasn't flipped out yet. If I go in too early, she won't know what to do. If she can handle it, then it'll be best. It'll be good if I show up at the ribbon-cutting ceremony. Feng Ying shook her finger. A crown prince with no achievements wants to be promoted. Even a secretary like me can't convince the people. Do you think it's appropriate? Su-yun, I think it's time for you to take over Sky Entertainment. Take advantage of the Qingdao Film and Television Plaza to get to the top. First, you'll be able to convince the public, and second, you'll be able to help her out. Don't even think about cutting the ribbon, because whether or not we can get that piece of land depends on Gua Chuanjiang. Su-yun finally understood why Gua Chuanjiang was so aggressive. It turned out that Gua Chuanjiang was confident. He felt that once Sky Entertainment Group left him, their plans for Hollywood in the East would be ruined. Don't think that this is a simple matter. The piece of land that Sky Entertainment has taken a fancy to is also being taken by other companies. Everyone knew that Zhang Taisui's idea was a good one. Huaxia's movie market was too big. Everyone knew how much money those foreign blockbusters took away from Huaxia. Feng Ying's words made sense. Qingdao's location is very good. It has good air quality compared to other coastal cities. Although there are many coastal cities with better locations and air quality, it has hosted the Olympic Games. Compared to other coastal cities, it's much better known. Therefore, whoever can get that piece of land to build the Qingdao Film and Television Plaza will become the leader of the film and television industry in Huaxia. Hearing Feng Ying's words, Su-yun also realized the importance of this matter. The people in the conference room were still debating. Zhou Buaqing couldn't help but blurt out, "Mr. Zhua, since you can't give us the person now, can you prove to us that you don't want to take over Sky Entertainment Group?" It's very simple. Zhang Taisui wants you to hold 60% of the shares. You can divide it into 3 parts. Mr. Gua, Mr. Qin, and I will each hold 20% for you. When you find the successor mentioned in Zhang Taisui's will, we will naturally return the shares to him. He can still inherit Sky Entertainment Group according to Zhang Taisui's will. When he said this, not only did Zhua Meiyan's expression change, but all the other executives in the room also changed. This was no small matter. Feng Ying's brows furrowed. She had thought of all kinds of possibilities, but she didn't think that they would be so bold as to directly ask for the shares. Zhua Meiyan was now in charge of Sky Entertainment Group because of this 60% of shares. If she lost it, she would have no say in Sky Entertainment Group. Are you dreaming? Mr. Zhou, I advise you to wash your face and go to the window to get some fresh air. Zhua Meiyan didn't show any mercy. I don't know what kind of education Mr. Zhou has, but I'm sure you've heard of the idiom, daydreaming. Unless you encounter a ghost during the day, then you can continue to daydream. This shares belongs to Zhang Taisui. I will hold it on his behalf until his adopted son inherits Sky Entertainment Group. How could I possibly give something so important to you? What are you trying to do? What are you thinking? Everyone knows what you're thinking. Qin Tianjian stood up to smooth things over. Mr. Zhua, I didn't even graduate from elementary school. I don't know what everyone knows is. But I want to say something fair. If the shares are in the hands of each of us, wouldn't it be more appropriate? You hold 60% of the shares by yourself. If you don't want to give it to us, who can stand up and say anything? Everyone is here today. Everyone knows about this. You won't suspect us of being disloyal, right? The fat on Gua Chuanjiang's face trembled. Mr. Zhua, isn't it more appropriate to say that everyone knows what you're thinking? As soon as these words were spoken, all the higher-ups cast doubtful gazes at Zhua Meiyan. Zhua Meiyan was speechless for a moment. These 3 people were echoing each other, and she was really at a loss for words. She knew very well that no matter what she said now, it would give others the impression that she was trying to defend herself. Unless she really handed over the shares with a big wave of her hand, she would not be able to obtain the support of the other higher-ups. But if she did that, then the power of Sky Entertainment Group would be in the hands of these 3 people. To be honest, Zhua Meiyan didn't believe that these 3 people would give back the shares. No one would complain about having too much power, no one would complain about having too much money, and even more so, no one would complain about their status soaring to the sky like a rocket. That's right, Mr. Zhua. How can you prove that you're not disloyal? You don't want to keep holding on to the shares forever, do you? Zhou Boqing purposely dragged out the last word. The entire conference room fell silent. Then, there were all kinds of whispers of doubt. Even the executives who supported Zhuo Meiyan at the beginning couldn't help but doubt her motives. After all, Zhang Taisui had passed away for so long. Zhuo Meiyan didn't show any signs of bringing the successor to them. This was human nature. Things on the surface would always tempt you to think the wrong way. Once everyone thought the same, even if the situation wasn't as they thought, it would be twisted into what everyone thought it was. This was the first time Zhuo Meiyan had such a headache. She didn't know how to explain herself. She knew that it was useless to say anything now. Everything she said was pale and powerless. Unless God allowed Su Yun to stand up and take over the heavy responsibility on her shoulders. Feng Ying suddenly pushed open the conference room door and looked at everyone with a smile. When I was at the door just now, I accidentally heard Mr. Guo, Mr. Qin, and Mr. Zhou's very strong wishes. You seem to really want the successor Zhang Taisui appointed before his death to take over the heavy responsibility of Sky Entertainment. Guo Chuanjiang was stunned. Feng Ying, as a secretary, had just walked into the meeting room and started talking. It was obviously against the rules, but because of Feng Ying's special status, Guo Chuanjiang didn't show any displeasure. Secretary Feng, you're absolutely right. We do hope that the real successor of Sky Entertainment Group can take over. We need someone to take charge of the situation at Qingdao Film and Television Plaza. I can't do it alone. Zhuo Meiyan didn't understand what Feng Ying meant. She didn't expect Feng Ying to help her out. She looked at Feng Ying gratefully. She knew that Feng Ying couldn't explain anything to the three of them. Then I'll give you a surprise. Feng Ying smiled. Maybe it's fate. I accidentally found out that the real heir of Sky Entertainment is staying in the same hotel as us. What a joke. Since you want him to come so much, I did the right thing by bringing him here. Zhuo Meiyan's eyes widened. How was that possible? Su Yun was at Xingkai Hotel. Zhuo Meiyan kept signaling Feng Ying with her eyes. She didn't want Feng Ying to spend money to hire a fake to help her out. If that happened and she was exposed, she wouldn't be able to explain herself. Guo Chuanjiang's jaw almost dropped. He had met Su Yun before. In his eyes, Su Yun wasn't interested in Sky Entertainment at all. And if he wanted to take over, he didn't have to wait until now, right? Didn't Zhuo Meiyan already take over? How was that possible? Haha, Secretary Feng, you're too good at joking. Qin Tianjian was stunned. He quickly recovered. Even if we want Zhang Taisui's heir to take over the company as soon as possible, we can't just talk about the devil. Feng Ying smiled. He's already here. Do you think I'm joking? President Qin, you should know me. I like to joke around. But when it comes to work, especially when it involves the future of Sky Entertainment, how could I joke around? Don't you think so? Zhou Boqing quickly said, Secretary Feng, you don't think that since we haven't met the heir, we'll just find a random actor to play the role, right? Haha, if that's the case, I'll get angry. This isn't a small matter. Feng Ying nodded and said seriously, if someone really made such a big joke, I think I'd get angry too. Zhuo Meiyan was the most nervous person in the room right now. Feng Ying was right. Everyone who knew her knew that even though she liked to joke around, she was always very serious when it came to work. She would never joke around in the slightest. Chapter 397. Even if Su Yun didn't want to appear, he would have to. Feng Ying really knew how to pick the right time for him. In fact, even if Feng Ying didn't push the door open, Su Yun would have pushed the door open without hesitation. Zhuo Meiyan had already reached a point where she couldn't advance or retreat. She couldn't really agree to give them the shares in her hands. Su Yun walked into the conference room with a smile. He winked at Zhuo Meiyan, who was sitting at the head of the table. His face was full of confidence. From a certain point of view, his appearance had indeed given Zhuo Meiyan a huge reassurance pill. Zhuo Meiyan even suspected that she was dreaming. If she wasn't in the conference room, she would have pinched her arm to prove that she was awake. But now, she could only take a sip of the hot tea on the table, using the hot tea to prove that she wasn't dreaming. How did Feng Ying do it? Even if Sun Wukong was alive, Zhuo Meiyan couldn't believe that he could bring Su Yun to her with a somersault cloud. Guo Chuanjiang's current state was almost the same as Zhuo Meiyan's. He couldn't believe the scene in front of him. He didn't care about other people's gazes. He directly reached out and hit his thigh until he grimaced in pain. Only then did he believe that the person in front of him was a living person. A living person who had ruined his plans. Guo Chuanjiang had always been narcissistic. If Su Yun hadn't caused trouble in Zhuo Meiyan's office that day, he might have been able to capture Ling Jiling's heart. Guo Chuanjiang never thought that his fierce-looking face was ugly. Instead, he thought that it was a symbol of wealth and status. However, he couldn't be blamed for this. Too many girls would be attracted to his ugly face for the money in his pocket. Please allow me to introduce. Feng Ying didn't wait for everyone to recover from their shock. She invited Su Yun to the center of the conference room. This is Zhang Taisui's only godson in the world. He is also the successor that Zhang Taisui mentioned in his last wish, Su Yun. The entire room was silent. Not a single person in the room was breathing loudly. Although everyone's eyes were already focused on Su Yun, they were sizing him up even more intensely now. If eyes could really have heat, Su Yun would have been burnt to a crisp by now. Sorry, I might have come a little too suddenly. Everyone was shocked. Su Yun smiled. If you have anything to discuss at the meeting, feel free to continue. I was just casually listening. Just casually listening. With that, Su Yun walked over to Zhuo Meiyan's side. Zhuo Meiyan didn't know whether to laugh or cry. She frowned and asked him with her eyes, "What's going on?" Su Yun calmly closed his eyes and replied to Zhuo Meiyan with the same look, "It's a long story. Let's talk later." Seeing Su Yun walk over to Zhuo Meiyan, Li Sisi, the secretary behind Zhuo Meiyan, immediately stood up and gave her seat to Su Yun. Su Yun thanked her, put the chair beside Zhuo Meiyan, and sat down casually. Feng Ying also walked over at this time. She whispered to Li Sisi to go out and prepare all the coffee. Then, she continued to smile at the surprised crowd. "Aren't you going to applaud?" After Feng Ying's reminder, a few people in the room finally raised their hands and clapped a few times. But their applause was soon stopped by Zhou Buoqing's question. "Secretary Feng, you opened the door and brought in such a person, and said that he was Zhang Taisui's designated successor? If I were the one who did it, would you trust me so much?" Before Feng Ying could say anything, Su Yun smiled. "Of course I wouldn't, because your status is different from Sister Feng Ying's. Sister Feng Ying wouldn't lie about Sky Entertainment, but I'm not sure about you, Mr. Zhou." Su Yun's words made Zhou Buoqing's face turn white. He crossed his legs as if nothing had happened, and still had a faint smile on his face. He was the main character, so why should he make things difficult for a woman? Su Yun especially looked down on this kind of guy who made things difficult for a woman. "Before you figure out your status, you don't have the right to talk to me with such an attitude, do you?" Zhou Buoqing became angry from embarrassment and glared at him. Su Yun didn't intend to be polite with him. When dealing with this kind of nouveau riche, the weaker you appear, the more uncontrollable his temper will be. So don't be polite to this kind of person. You have to be more explosive than him to suppress him. Before you know anything, I'm afraid you shouldn't talk to me with such an attitude. There's no medicine for regret in this world. Su Yun's words made Zhou Buoqing's face turn red. Qin Tianjian interrupted, "Ha ha ha, I'm not doubting you, but Secretary Feng, you should at least give us something to prove it, right? This happened too suddenly. It's normal that we can't accept it. No one wants things to be so unclear, right? What you said makes sense, but I'm afraid Secretary Feng can't give you any evidence." Su Yun said lightly, "Because she herself is a witness. Looking at the situation now, I'm afraid you don't want to believe her. If you believed her, you wouldn't be saying these things, right?" Zhou Buoqing insisted, "How can you make us believe you without evidence?" If a beggar on the roadside said he was Zhang Taisui's heir, should we believe him? A witness doesn't count at all. Nowadays, people's mouths can't resist the temptation of a high price. As long as you're willing to pay, anyone can make up a story. Su Yun sneered. Really? A witness can't be trusted. Ha ha ha, Mr. Zhou's words are the biggest fallacy I've ever heard. Oh, if that's the case, I won't ask Mr. Guo to be my witness. I'm afraid Mr. Guo won't admit to having met me. Guo Chuanjiang's fierce face trembled again. I'm sorry, I'm afraid we haven't met. Guo Chuanjiang, other people can say that they haven't met Su Yun. But only you can't, right? Zhua Meiyan heard Guo Chuanjiang's denial and couldn't help but get angry. You met Su Yun in my office. Ling Zhiling was also there. I'm afraid there's nothing to deny, right? Don't tell me you want me to call Ling Zhiling to testify? Guo Chuanjiang shook his head helplessly. Mr. Zhua, don't be so angry. I haven't met him. Why do you have to say that I have? Since you want Miss Ling to testify, then let Miss Ling testify. In short, I haven't met him. This guy wants to play this trick and deny it? Su Yun smiled helplessly. Mr. Guo, are you saying that the person I met in Mr. Zhua's office that day wasn't you, but a wild boar? Haha, if I were a 3-year-old child, I might have mistaken you. But I'm an adult now. I can't not tell a person from a wild boar, right? Mr. Guo, you're much more handsome than a wild boar. The humiliating words were thrown directly in Guo Chuanjiang's face. Guo Chuanjiang was somewhat embarrassed, but he had tasted Su Yun's strength, so he didn't dare to speak carelessly. He had calculated everything, but he didn't expect that someone would come out of nowhere. The matter of seizing the shares would probably have to be considered at length. Young man, speak with respect. The other executives also had 3 supporters, and they all started to scold him. Of course, those who remained neutral also began to whisper. After all, among all of them present, only Zhua Meiyan and Feng Ying had seen Zhang Taisui's successor. Now that both of them had acknowledged this person was more or less a possibility. It couldn't be that both of them were making up lies. Zhua Meiyan and Feng Ying had a high reputation and prestige in Sky Entertainment. Moreover, Feng Ying didn't have to do this kind of thing because it wouldn't benefit her at all. No matter who was in charge of Sky Entertainment, she would always be the head secretary. Some people don't want face when I give you face. Don't blame me for being rude. Su Yun had no intention of keeping a low profile. He suddenly slammed his palm on the table. I think there's no point in continuing today's meeting. You want me to come, but you don't welcome me if I show up. Ayaya, I really don't understand this. If that's the case, I suggest you all go back and think about it. What do you think, Mr. Guo? I'm afraid that if Sister Zhiling doesn't come and testify for me, you won't admit that we met. Guo Chuanjiang swallowed his saliva and tried to appear calm. It's not that I don't want to admit it, but I really haven't met you. I'm just being honest, and I didn't say that you definitely aren't Zhang Taisui's successor. I was brought up by Zhang Taisui, and I have to be responsible for him and Sky Entertainment. Even if I'm wrong, I still have to be suspicious. Because this is my way of being responsible for Sky Entertainment. If you all think my words make sense, then don't hesitate to doubt me. As the saying goes, true gold fears no fire. Isn't that right, everyone? Yes. Yes. True gold fears no fire. If it's true, then it can't be false. If it's false, then it can't be true. Everyone agreed with Guo Chuanjiang's words. Su Yun gave him a thumbs up. Mr. Guo, it's a waste of your talent if you don't run for president in America. Since you've said that, then I have nothing else to say. Su Yun stared at Guo Chuanjiang for a long time. He wanted to see how Guo Chuanjiang would turn him into a fake. If he really had that ability, then Su Yun would be convinced. At first, Guo Chuanjiang still dared to look at Su Yun, but after a few seconds, he didn't know why, but a chill suddenly rose up in his body. The bone-chilling feeling made him break out in a cold sweat. What a terrifying gaze. Guo Chuanjiang always thought that he had strong willpower. He liked to look at others with the eyes of a hunter, and treat others as his prey. However, it was different this time. In Soo-yun's eyes, he was like a prey. Soo-yun's gaze was not the gaze of a hunter, but the gaze of a ferocious beast, the kind that belonged to the king of all beasts. Chapter 398. Why didn't you tell me in advance? Zhou Meiyan said calmly. Zhou Meiyan didn't expect Wang Zhe to make the decision on his own. She also didn't expect Su-yun to follow him. Inside Zhou Meiyan's business suite, Wang Zhe lowered his head and waited to be scolded. Even though his intentions and results were good, he had to admit that he had made a mistake by not mentioning it to Zhou Meiyan. He knew that if he had told you in advance, you wouldn't have let him do it. Feng Ying handed out several bottles of water to everyone. I don't think Wang Zhe did anything wrong. Su-yun smiled. Did you think that even if he had asked me to come, I wouldn't have agreed to help you? That's right. Zhou Meiyan didn't deny it. If Su-yun was so easy to talk to, he wouldn't have been so vague when she asked him when he would take over Sky Entertainment. Of course she didn't know that he would stand up at such a crucial time. Of course I would stand up for something as important as Sky Entertainment. Su-yun, did you think I would just watch Sky Entertainment be taken away by those ungrateful bastards? Haha, when Sister Ji-ling comes, she'll be able to expose Guo Chuanjiang's lies in front of everyone. Although it won't be enough proof of my identity, it'll make the other executives realize that Guo Chuanjiang and the other two aren't trustworthy. Zhou Meiyan nodded in agreement. Actually, you don't need any proof. As long as Sister Feng Ying and I are your witnesses, you'll be able to take over. You don't need to show them any proof. Sister Feng Ying and I are the best proof. Only Sister Feng Ying and I know your identity. Su-yun smiled. But Guo Chuanjiang and the others definitely won't admit it. That Zhou Boqing is definitely a difficult person to deal with. There's also Qin Tianjian. People like the Smiling Tiger are often the most terrifying. As long as the three of them are here, I'm afraid no one will believe me if I don't show them proof. Feng Ying said calmly, but the proof is the two of us. If no one believes us, then any proof is useless. If it weren't for the instigation of the three of them, it wouldn't have been so troublesome. I have already called Ling Jiling. She will arrive in Shenzhong tonight. Zhou Meiyan coldly said, let her prove that Guo Chuanjiang is a person who speaks irresponsibly first, then everyone will believe us more. At this time, Li Sisi gently knocked on the door and said to Zhou Meiyan, Director Zhou, there's a call from the company. They said that there's something very important that you need to confirm. Do you have time now? You do what you need to do. I'll make arrangements for Su-yun. Feng Ying said to Zhou Meiyan, I will book the nearest suite. Su-yun shook his head. Don't be so wasteful. I don't need an office or business. Why would I stay in a suite? I saw the price list for Shinkai's accommodation when I was in the lobby. Sister Feng Ying, it's too much of a scam for you to book the cheapest accommodation for me. Feng Ying smiled awkwardly. Su-yun, you're the successor of Sky Entertainment Group. How could I let you stay in the cheapest standard room? Since I'm the successor, then Sister Feng Ying, shouldn't you listen to me? Su-yun grinned. All right then. Feng Ying helplessly shook her head. Secretary Feng, it would be best if you could arrange for Brother Yun to stay in the room next to mine. Wang Zhe finally dared to speak because Zhou Meiyan no longer had any anger left in her. Feng Ying thought for a moment. I'll go ask. I think the room next to yours is Wu Yuandong's. That's fine too. Su-yun, he hasn't seen Wu Yuandong for a long time. It would be interesting to live with him and Wang Zhe. Wang Zhe, take me downstairs to chat with Brother Dong. I haven't seen him in a long time. Zhou Meiyan was slightly jealous. You only asked him to send you to Suzhou and Hang. You're so close. Brother Dong? You're the CEO of Sky Entertainment Group. You can't call him that anymore. All right, we'll listen to you. Director Zhou, take your time. We'll leave first. Su-yun smiled and got up to leave. Before he left, he turned back and said gently, Meiyan, thank you for your hard work." Hearing Su Yun's gentle voice, Zhuo Meiyan couldn't help but feel touched. She never thought that Su Yun would say something like that to her. She also never thought that Su Yun would understand that everything she did was for him. Back then, Zhang Taisui had told her that although he hoped that Su Yun could take over Sky Entertainment Group, he didn't know if Su Yun really wanted it or not. But he was also worried that with Su Yun's personality, he wouldn't be able to stay in that place. It was a very serious problem. If one day, Su Yun couldn't stay in that place, Zhang Taisui certainly hoped that he could take over Sky Entertainment Group. Zhang Taisui wanted Su Yun to take over Sky Entertainment Group, but he didn't want to force him to do something he didn't like. That was why Zhuo Meiyan took on this heavy responsibility. She hoped that before Su Yun wanted to take over Sky Entertainment Group would be able to operate normally. Now that Sky Entertainment Group was in such a big mess, Zhuo Meiyan finally didn't know what to do. How could she not be touched when Su Yun appeared and said something like that to her? Watching Su Yun's back as he left the room, Zhuo Meiyan felt as if a huge rock had been lifted from her heart. This man who had saved her life had always been so mysterious and unpredictable in her eyes. Director Zhuo, phone. Li Sisi reminded Zhuo Meiyan. Zhuo Meiyan came back to her senses. Wu Yuandong was also quite surprised to see Su Yun appear. Wang Zhe saw that the two were quite familiar with each other, so he went out to buy a deck of cards. They probably wouldn't have anything to do before lunch. Since the company called at such an important time to say something important, it obviously wasn't a small matter. Zhuo Meiyan probably wouldn't be able to solve it in a short time. They would have enough time to play Do Di Zhu and chat while playing. When Wang Zhe bought the cards, Feng Ying had already booked a room for Su Yun. It was right across from Wu Yuandong and Wang Zhe's room. Seeing that the three of them were going to play cards, Feng Ying didn't want to disturb them. She had to go to Zhuo Meiyan's place because she knew very well what a phone call from the company meant. Before Zhuo Meiyan came to Shanjiang for a meeting, she had clearly told the middle-level managers of the various departments not to disturb her unless it was about the Qingdao Film and Television Plaza. The phone call at this time obviously had something to do with the Qingdao Film and Television Plaza. They had just had a small conflict with Guochuanjiang, and the Qingdao Film and Television Plaza project was already in trouble. It was very likely that Guochuanjiang had done something. Perhaps men of a certain age didn't like to play small games like Do Di Zhu. They only liked to play games like mahjong. Winning or losing was always in the 6 digits, which was exciting enough. Therefore, Guochuanjiang invited Qin Tianjian and Zhou Buoqing to a tea house he was familiar with to play mahjong. Even though they were short of one person, Guochuanjiang didn't invite a 4th person. The fewer people who knew about something, the better. Also, before the two of them came, he called the leader in charge of the land in Qingdao. He said that he had been having a hard time in the company recently and hoped that the leader could help him put some pressure on Sky Entertainment. Of course, the leader understood what Guochuanjiang meant. Guochuanjiang had talked to him a lot for this land. Now that the land was about to be given to him, he actually made such a request. Obviously, he wanted to take advantage of this opportunity to make some money. Faced with such a good opportunity to make some money, the leader of course wouldn't let it go. "Lao Guo, are you sure you saw that young man in Zhuo Meiyan's office?" Zhou Buoqing still didn't believe it. Even though Guochuanjiang said it himself, he still didn't believe it. Guochuanjiang sighed. "Of course I'm sure. And Ling Zhiling was there at the time. That's why Zhuo Meiyan dared to ask Ling Zhiling to testify. Tell me, if Ling Zhiling comes to testify for that brat, wouldn't I become a scoundrel who has no credibility and spouts nonsense?" Qin Tianjian smiled. "Mr. Guo, don't be so nervous. It hasn't happened yet. And even if Ling Zhiling came, so what? What if she doesn't testify for them? Then they'll be the scoundrel with no credibility." "Lao Qin, what do you mean?" Zhou Buoqing was stunned and puzzled. Qin Tianjian threw down a mahjong tile and said enigmatically, "Mr. Zhou, it's not that troublesome. As the saying goes, money makes the devil push the millstone. It's even more so in today's society. Money makes the devil push the millstone. What's the point of everyone going out? Isn't it all for money and reputation? Ling Jiling is just an artist under our Sky Entertainment Group. As long as you're willing to pay and promise to package her and promote her, she'll definitely be able to secure her position as the #1 artist. Why can't she change her mind? Guo Chuanjiang couldn't help but raise his head when he heard this. He was wondering if he should play the 13 orphans or give up. Zhou Buoqing gave him a thumbs up. Brilliant, really brilliant. Lao Qin, among the three of us, you're the one with the best ideas. Ha ha ha, listening to you is better than studying for 10 years. Yes, yes. As long as we stop Ling Jiling before she checks into the hotel, everything will still be under our control. Don't worry, leave this to me. Guo Chuanjiang's face showed a proud smile. This was too easy. He just had to arrange for someone to wait at the hotel entrance and inform him as soon as Ling Jiling appeared. That way, he wouldn't have to go back to the Little Vixen in Shenzhen tonight. He would just stay at the hotel. Mr. Guo, it's not enough for you to do this alone. Qin Tianjian said faintly, if Mr. Zhou and I are involved, she'll face even more pressure. She'll also believe that as long as she helps us, we'll package her and promote her even more. Don't you think so? Guo Chuanjiang nodded. What he said made sense. Humph, not only do we have to package her and promote her, when Sky Entertainment Group becomes ours, we'll even sleep with her. Ha ha ha. Hearing Guo Chuanjiang's words, Zhou Buoqing couldn't help but laugh. Not bad, not bad. Lao Guo, you've spoken my mind. Such a top-notch woman swaying in front of my eyes every day, but I don't have a chance to make a move. This really makes my heart itch. Ha ha ha, 30,000. He won. Qin Tianjian smiled as he took the 30,000 that Zhou Buoqing had played and placed it in front of his tile. A dragon. Ha ha, Mr. Zhou, this is going to be doubled. Do you have enough money on you? Ha ha ha. Chapter 399. Zhua Meiyan didn't expect Qingdao to suddenly change their mind and say that they didn't want to transfer the Gold Coast to Sky Entertainment Group. Sky Entertainment Group had used a lot of money and connections to get this place, but now the other party had suddenly changed their mind. Zhua Meiyan was a little confused. She didn't know how many phone calls she made that afternoon and how many connections she used to find out why. In the end, she didn't get a solid answer. Zhua Meiyan was more or less suspicious of Guo Chuanjiang. She guessed right, Guo Chuanjiang was indeed behind this. But she couldn't say anything without evidence. Zhua Meiyan couldn't help but feel annoyed. Zhua Meiyan had a habit of not wanting anyone to disturb her at times like this. Before she thought of a solution, she wasn't even in the mood to eat. Feng Ying knew this, so before Zhua Meiyan came out of her room, she didn't let anyone disturb her. Not even Su Yun. Su Yun didn't know what was going on, and he didn't have the strength to help her. The only thing he could do now was to pray for Zhua Meiyan. Without Zhua Meiyan, dinner ended quickly. Watching the night fall, Su Yun couldn't help but think of the bar on the 88th floor of Xinkai Hotel. I heard there's a bar there, and it's pretty good. Have you been there? Su Yun smiled and said to Wu Yuandong and Wang Zhe, I heard that it's the best angle to overlook Xinjiang Beach. Come with me to have a look? Wang Zhe was stunned. Brother Yun, that place is probably the most expensive place in Xinkai Hotel. It's very dark. Normally, a bottle of red wine is sold for a few thousand yuan outside, but here it's over 10,000 yuan. If you really want to drink something good, you'll have to spend hundreds of thousands or even hundreds of thousands. Wu Yuandong chuckled and said, Brother, if you want to celebrate the fact that you're about to take over Sky Entertainment Group, I'll take you to a good place to drink. I guarantee that you'll drink to your heart's content, and we won't rip you off. Are there many beautiful women? Wang Zhe was quite interested. I haven't paid much attention to that, but that bar is very popular, so there must be many beautiful women there. Wu Yuandong nodded and said with certainty, Who cares whether it is a lot or not, won't we know when we get there? Su Yun shook his head. If you want to go to the bar on the 88th floor of Xinkai. Since you're already in Shenzhen, if you don't find the best spot to enjoy the beautiful night view of Shenzhen Beach, wouldn't it be a wasted trip? Even if his wine was expensive, it was only expensive because of the position. It costs you 50 yuan to ride the Ferris wheel and enjoy the night view, not to mention that it's on the 88th floor of Xinkai. Was he really going? Wu Yuandong felt that Su Yun's words were indeed reasonable. He had followed Zhuo Meiyan to Shenzhen so many times, but he had never seen Xinjiang before. Su Yun got up and went out. Let's go. Wang Zhe saw the two of them go out one after another, and of course, he did not hesitate to follow. He had been to the bar before, and he had gone up with Zhuo Meiyan to meet a Hollywood film tycoon. That tycoon was a Jew, and it was at that time that Wang Zhe understood why people all over the world said that Jews were rich. They drank red wine that cost hundreds of thousands as if it was Coke, and they did not feel the slightest bit of heartache. The three of them took the elevator to the 88th floor, and immediately, someone led them to their seats. For such a high-end place, those who dared to come were definitely not ordinary people, so the waiters would never judge a person by their appearance, nor would they judge whether a person was rich or not by the way they dressed. Nowadays, tycoons like to wear custom-made military coats when they went out, and no one dared to judge whether a person was poor or not. When the three of them sat down, the beautiful waitress gave each of them a thick and luxurious wine menu. Please take a look and see what you would like to drink. Sitting in a position where he could overlook the entire bund, Su Yun felt quite good. It was just like the song, I'm in a mood now, and I'll get drunk if I drink soda, oh yeah. Su Yun was not a wine taster, and he was not an alcoholic, so he did not have any requirements for wine. You two can order whatever you want. Wu Yuandong and Wang Zhe held the luxurious wine menu and looked at it for a few minutes. They raised their heads and looked at each other. Then, they turned their eyes to Su Yun at the same time. Su Yun did not feel anything at all, and he continued to enjoy the night view of Shenzhen. Just now, Su Yun noticed that there were not many people in the bar. Perhaps it was because it was still early, so he did not see any Dongying people. Su Yun chose this position for two reasons. First, he could overlook the night sky of Shenzhen. Second, this position was hidden, and he could observe the situation at the door at any time to ensure that he did not miss any customers entering or leaving. Although Su Yun knew that it would be difficult to meet Junji Nakamura on his first day here, unless his luck and character exploded, Su Yun was still afraid of missing this opportunity. Brother Yun, you order. I really don't know what to drink. Wang Zhe interrupted Su Yun's thoughts and whispered, I said I wouldn't come, this place is too expensive. Wu Yuandong was also a little embarrassed. Although he was prepared for this place to be very expensive, he really did not expect it to be this expensive. There was not a single bottle of wine below 5 digits on the entire wine menu. The cheapest one was 28,000 yuan. This was even more expensive than Sun Earnyong's meat bun shop. Su Yun thought that the two were embarrassed, so he calmly opened the wine menu. After seeing the price, he also expressed that he was not calm. Dear, I know that the cost here is high, but it shouldn't be this expensive, right? The cheapest wine is over 20,000 yuan? I'm sorry, sir, but the cheapest wine here is not that expensive. The cheapest wine is the Margot Manor's Dry Red Margot Red Pavilion, which costs 6,888 yuan. The beautiful waitress said with a smile. Wang Zhe had drunk this wine before. It seemed to be around 1,000 yuan a bottle on the market. Here, the price had increased by 6 times. It was really exaggerated. Then let's have a bottle of that. Su Yun was neither a nouveau riche nor a country bumpkin, and he was definitely not an idiot. His main purpose here was not to drink and enjoy the scenery. If he could avoid being slandered, then he would avoid being slandered. Since he was already here, it would be unrealistic to not order anything. If 6,800 yuan was overcharged, then so be it. Su Yun clenched his teeth and did not feel the heartache. If he was overcharged 28,000 yuan, then what was the difference between that and cutting off a piece of meat? I'm sorry, sir, the seat you chose is the VIP area. There is a minimum alcohol consumption limit. If you want to sit here and enjoy the night view of Xinjiang, You can only order wine from this wine menu. The waitress still explained slowly and calmly. What kind of rule is this? This is simply cheating your father, cheating Laozi, cheating your grandpa. Based on what? But this place is theirs, and the rules are set by them. If you are not convinced, you can leave. No one is forcing you to drink here. If you don't sit here, there are plenty of people who will come and sit here. What kind of place is Shenzhen? It's the metropolis that is most connected to the world in Huaxia. The nouveau riche here is like the sand and stones on the shore of Shenzhen. Once you step on them, who knows how many will stick to your foot. Wu Yuandong angrily said, "You guys are setting prices randomly. Aren't you afraid that the Bureau of Commodity Prices will investigate?" "I'm sorry, sir, even if you are from the Bureau of Commodity Prices, the price here is the same. Our wine cellar occupies the space of one floor of the Xingkai building. We have a collection of 2,500 types of red wine, totaling more than 20,000 bottles. In order to preserve the wine cellar also installed an independent air conditioner for each wine cabinet to ensure that the room temperature is maintained at 16 to 18 degrees. The floor is also made of special materials so that the dust will not rise into the air. We even have France's Romani-Conti wine region with sky-high prices, so the cost of our wine cellar is high to begin with." The waitress's words were reasonable. Obviously, she had received training in this area. "If you guys want to drink Margot Red Pavilion dry red wine, please follow me to the seat inside." Su Yun followed the waitress's hand and looked over. It was fine that he could not see the night view from the inside, but he could not even see the entrance. What if Nakamura Junji came in and out? "Brother Yun, I think we should leave. This place is too dark." Wang Zhe pursed his lips. Su Yun could no longer sit still. If he chose to wait for Junji Nakamura in this place, it was obviously not a wise choice. Spending 28,000 for one night was fine, but what about 2 days? What about 3 days? If he did not see Nakamura Junji here for 10 days, wouldn't he have to spend 280,000 yuan? Just as the three of them got up and were about to leave, another waitress hurried over and whispered something in the ear of the waitress who served Su Yun and the others. The waitress's impatient expression suddenly calmed down again. She smiled and bowed respectfully to the three of them. "I'm sorry, sir. The gentleman in booth number 6 has ordered wine for you. Please wait a moment." Booth number 6? Su Yun and the others looked behind them. Sitting in booth number 6 was the tycoon Zhou Boqing, whose hands were full of jade rings. "Ha ha ha." Zhou Boqing grinned. "I didn't expect to see you here. Don't worry and drink. It's my treat today." "Ha ha ha, although no one can prove that you are Zhang Taisui's godson, I'll give old Master Zhang some face today and treat you to a drink." Su Yun did not stand on ceremony and said generously, "Thank you, Mr. Zhou. I won't stand on ceremony." Soon, a bottle of Chateau Lafite dry red wine, which was sold for 150,000 yuan in this bar, was placed in front of the three of them. Su Yun sneered. This Zhou Boqing was really generous. He waved his hand and treated them to a bottle of red wine that cost more than 100,000 yuan. He really did not know what he was up to. "Brother Yun, should we drink this wine?" Wang Zhe was a little hesitant. Wu Yuendong's gaze was also fixed on Su Yun. Although the wine was good, the person who gave it to him wasn't a good person after all. It was said that if one drank the wine, one's mouth would soften. If they drank it, they would be a little inferior to Zhou Boqing. Of course, they would drink it. If someone gave it to them for free, they would be fools not to drink it. Su Yun did not think so much. Zhou Boqing was willing to do this because he was a fool. He, Su Yun, was not a fool. So what if he drank it? If his godfather, Zhang Taisui, had not helped him in the past, he would still be moving bricks and mud. Would he be able to live such a carefree life today? Chapter 400. Although Zhou Boqing served Su Yun and the others a glass of red wine, he didn't say much. A middle-aged man in his 40s walked out of the bathroom and sat opposite Zhou Buoqing. Zhou Buoqing seemed to have forgotten about Su Yun and the others in an instant. He chatted and laughed with the middle-aged man, drinking red wine like it was fruit juice. There was no taste to speak of at all. He just took big gulps and wasted God's gift. Su Yun and the others didn't return any gifts. They drank the top-grade red wine that Zhou Buoqing served and continued to enjoy the beautiful night view of Shenzhen. Many people came to the lounge one after another, but Su Yun didn't see Nakamura Junji's figure. Perhaps even the young master of Darong Electronics didn't have the capital to spend every day here. About an hour later, Zhou Buoqing got a call and got up to leave. Before he left, he waved his hand and served Su Yun and the others a second glass of Lafite. How should Su Yun describe his feelings at this moment? If it was appropriate, he would definitely say that he was really flattered. But Zhou Buoqing's last look was especially memorable. "Young man, I hope Miss Ling can prove everything to you tomorrow. Ha ha ha." Ling Zhiling wore sportswear, a hat, and a mask. She was surrounded by two people when she got out of the car in the hotel's garage. She couldn't help but feel nervous. Could it be that she was still recognized after dressing up like this? If she had known, she wouldn't have gone out alone. "Miss Ling." One of the people who surrounded her suddenly said respectfully, "You're finally here. President Zhou has been waiting for you for a long time." Ling Zhiling was slightly relieved. President Zhou had never made things so grand before. She was really not used to people coming up to invite her. She was just about to call Feng Ying's secretary to ask for the room number that had been arranged for her, but now it seemed that there was no need. Soon, Ling Zhiling followed the two people to a suite floor of Xing Kai Hotel. Under the guidance of the two people, she was quickly brought to a room door. They lightly knocked on the door 3 times and gestured for her to go in. The door opened and Ling Zhiling walked in without thinking much. The moment the door closed, she suddenly realized something because there were many men talking and laughing in the room. But before she had time to think, Guo Chuanjiang had already walked in front of her. "Miss Ling, I've been waiting for you for a long time." Guo Chuanjiang laughed, revealing a mouthful of uneven yellow teeth. "Miss Ling is really a natural beauty. I haven't seen you for so many days. How did you become prettier?" If these words were said by someone else, Ling Zhiling would more or less feel happy. After all, it was a compliment. But when it came from Guo Chuanjiang's mouth, it was beyond disgusting. "Mr. Guo, I'm sorry, I might have entered the wrong room." Ling Zhiling said and was about to leave. "President Zhou is still waiting for me. I think I'd better go and say hello to her first. I'll chat with you later." Guo Chuanjiang directly blocked Ling Zhiling's way. "Miss Ling, there's no hurry. Anyway, President Zhou didn't say that he must see you now. But it's different here. Ha ha ha, I'm not the only one who misses Miss Ling. President Zhou and President Qin also miss Miss Ling very much. Miss Ling, you won't refuse to give us face, right?" Ling Zhiling was stunned. At this time, Zhou Buoqing and Qin Tianjian also walked out and looked at her with a smile. "Our Sky Entertainment Group's superstars have a different temperament. Ha ha ha, Miss Ling, we haven't seen each other in a long time, right?" This sudden change of events was a little too much for Ling Zhiling to handle. Although she was known as a smooth and slick person, she still couldn't get used to it. After all, they were all senior executives of Sky Entertainment Group. Ling Zhiling didn't dare to slight them. "President Qin, President Zhou, why are you here? It's really been a long time. You are all busy people. Haha, even if I wanted to see you, I didn't have the chance. Miss Ling, don't we have a chance now? But you suddenly said you were leaving. Don't you think you're not giving us face?" Qin Tianjian said with a smile. Zhou Buoqing had just been drinking in the lounge upstairs. After receiving Guo Chuanjiang's call, he immediately rushed down. Whether or not he could win Ling Zhiling's heart depended on tonight. "Miss Ling, I didn't expect you to still remember me. I'm so honored. Ayaya, come in and have a seat. President Zhou is busy with work. He doesn't have time to see you." Why don't you talk to us first? Guo Chuanjiang saw Ling Zhiling's awkward expression and said, "It looks like Miss Ling is looking down on us." "Ha ha ha, then we won't force you." Qin Tianjian narrowed his eyes. "I don't think Miss Ling is the kind of person who doesn't give face to others. In our Sky Entertainment Group's entertainment circle, I think Miss Ling is the most promising. She always gives people the feeling that she is so approachable." "Very good, very good. Since Miss Ling is so approachable, then let's have a seat and have a cup of tea." Zhou Buoqing said, "I was wondering why President Guo prepared such a high-quality tiguanyin today. It turns out that he already knew that a beauty would visit. Miss Ling, please." At this point, Ling Zhiling could only take one step at a time. No matter what, these three people were the top management of Sky Entertainment Group. It was not good to offend any of them. Moreover, if she left now, she would offend all three of them. For an artist signed by Sky Entertainment Group like her, if she offended all three of them at once, it would be tantamount to sealing off all her future career paths. "Then I'll respectfully accept your invitation." Ling Zhiling smiled and didn't ask to leave. When Ling Zhiling sat down, Qin Tianjian smiled and said, "Miss Ling, what important matter do you have to discuss with President Zhua in Xinjiang?" Ling Zhiling didn't know how to answer Qin Tianjian's question. She couldn't help but look at Guo Chuanjiang. Zhua Meiyan had called her and asked her to come over. She wanted her to prove that Guo Chuanjiang and Su Yun had met in her office. Ling Zhiling still didn't understand what was going on. Before she could ask for more details, Zhua Meiyan hung up the phone. Haha, President Zhua asked me to come, so of course I came." "How could I ask why?" Ling Zhiling shook her head. Zhou Buoqing frowned. "President Zhua really didn't say why she asked you to come?" "She really didn't say." Ling Zhiling nodded with certainty. She knew that she couldn't admit it. If she did, who knew what Guo Chuanjiang would ask of her? Guo Chuanjiang was stunned. "No way. President Zhua didn't say why she asked you to come and you came?" "Of course I don't dare to disobey my boss." Ling Zhiling's words made sense. Qin Tianjian still had a calm smile on his face. "Miss Ling, I don't believe your words. If it were any other boss, I'm sure they wouldn't tell you the reason. But President Zhua isn't that kind of person. Before she asks anyone to do anything, she will give them the most basic reason. Since Miss Ling doesn't want to admit it, then I'll get straight to the point. President Zhua asked you to expose President Guo's lie, right?" Ling Zhiling couldn't help but tremble. She had heard of Qin Tianjian's meticulous mind, but she didn't expect him to be so shrewd. Although Guo Chuanjiang wasn't happy with Qin Tianjian's choice of words, he didn't say anything. After all, he was the one who caused all this trouble. "Miss Ling, do you remember the person in President Zhua's office the other day?" "Of course I do," Ling Zhiling said. Now President Zhua said that person was Zhang Taisui's designated successor of Sky Entertainment Group. Zhou Buoqing said coldly, "Miss Ling, what do you think about this matter?" Ling Zhiling realized that something was wrong. Why was Su Yun suddenly involved in Sky Entertainment Group? Since President Zhua said so, then it shouldn't be wrong. Could it be that Zhang Taisui's designated successor is going to take over Sky Entertainment Group? He was dreaming. Guo Chuanjiang gritted his teeth. Why does Zhua Meiyan have to say so? If she wants to monopolize Sky Entertainment Group, then she found a substitute. Ling Zhiling didn't expect Guo Chuanjiang to be so angry. Miss Ling Qin Tianjian's words were much gentler. Of course, we also hope that Sky Entertainment Group can be inherited by Zhang Taisui's successor. But all three of us feel that something is wrong, so we want to test him. Since it's a test, I hope Miss Ling can cooperate with us. What do you want me to do? Ling Zhiling said. Guo Chuanjiang didn't beat around the bush. President Zhua wants you to prove that I met Zhang Taisui's successor in his office at the board meeting tomorrow. Because I denied it at the time, I can't remember what that person looked like. So I need you to testify for me. Just say that I didn't meet him. Ling Zhiling covered her mouth. You mean Su Yun is here? The three of them looked at Ling Zhiling. Didn't President Sua tell you that he was here? Ling Zhiling shook her head. If she knew that Su Yun was here, she would have called him in advance. Then this situation wouldn't have happened. No. President Gua, since you met him, why don't you admit it? It's a test. Qin Tianjian continued. Miss Ling, you just need to cooperate with us. Of course, we won't let you do this for free. Zhou Buoqing laughed. You'll get all the benefits. If you do as we say, it'll be a great contribution to Sky Entertainment Group. Gua Chuanjiang pushed a bank card in front of Ling Zhiling. Miss Ling, there's 10 million in here. The password is written on the back of the card. You just need to tell everyone that I didn't meet Su Yun in his office, and you can take the money. Also, I can promise you that for the whole of next year, Sky Entertainment Group will spend all of its resources on you. I guarantee that everything you do will be on the headlines. Qin Tianjian's offer was even more tempting. By then, you'll be Sky Entertainment Group's big sister. How much your value will rise is not something that can be measured by money. These temptations were indeed great. She just needed to tell a small lie and she could get 10 million. This was the easiest money in the world. After thinking for a while, Ling Zhiling's nervous expression finally relaxed. She picked up the bank card on the table and put it in her bag. Warner smiled and said, "It's just a small matter. Do I need the three of you to tell me together?" You're tuning in to the Narrate and Escape YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.